All right, what is up, everyone? It's Utter Chaos, episode 14. This is a interesting angle. I've had some comic skaters on my channel, but I've never had a stream devoted to the gayness that is comic skate. And of course, it's Pride Month, so we can celebrate the human sunbeam that is Caesar and his light that makes the rainbow our symbol. And with me today, we got Wyatt Holliday, who I'm not sure how long, but he has decided to throw his hat in the ring and get comicsgate gay with us. He's got a project he wants to tell you about, and we're gonna learn all about him and get to know him better before he starts revealing this campaign fully to us. Uh, Tell us about yourself, Wyatt. Say hello to the chat of one right now, Miss.
Hey, what's up, guys?
um, so yeah, just like tell us about yourself, your project, and kind of we'll go from there.
Okay, sure. Let's see. Well, first of all, the pre-launch page is up now. It's the book we're coming forth with is Ardanna number 0. It's a sword and sorcery book. Kind of goes back to the old Conan type stories. Um, yeah, it's number 0. It'll be a standard length comic, and it'll be an introduction to everything that's going on. We've got warriors and wizards and dark magic.
Okay, no, that sounds cool. Yeah, I looking at your, you have what, 2 pages up to see preview
Yeah,
pages.
we have two preview pages so far.
Yeah, I saw those and it definitely evoked Conan. I'm not like a diehard. I didn't grow up with Conan. It's a lot of film for me has been just interest in film and finding iconic, either critically successful or just you know, tried and true for different genres. So I finally watched Conan. I'm like, I like this. It's not too much dialogue. It's nice and slow. It lets you really get into the universe. I need to rewatch the new one to see uh, the tonal difference. Kind of being critically aware now, especially being a YouTuber and trying to review stuff. Um, so what in oh, first of all, how long have you been writing?
Oh gosh, I guess as far as learning and practicing, I guess about 30 years. Professionally, probably 15.
Okay, what again, like we said earlier, not doxing yourself. But what kind of writing do you do outside of like this comic that's underway?
I write engineering standards.
Oh wow, so this is probably very liberating for you then.
Yes, yeah. This is, a lot of times people will say, "Man, when you start this campaign, you're going to be so stressed." And so far, it's still not as bad as the day job. so, so still not that stressful. Um, but yeah, engineering standards. Yeah, anyone needs to ever know anything about, you know, oil drilling, just let me know.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So yeah, I guess you work for an oil company then.
Several, yeah.
Nice. Um, so how long do you expect? Like, do you have like, barring critical feedback from your audience, whoever purchases and perhaps gives you reviews via Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, or I guess the Indiegogo comments or what have you. Barring that, I say that because like shows like Stranger Things, the first season they just writers wrote it, and then they had the feedback to kind of perhaps skew the original vision, but maybe to also perfect it for the audience. So that's why I say that. Barring that, do you have the complete story written or planned or outlined in your head, or is this just like see how this first issue goes and then build from there and kind of see how far you want the story to go?
Well, yeah. I guess it was probably 5 or 6 years ago. I was just, playing around, we all daydream and meander at work, and or on the drive home or whatever. And I was thinking about, like, I don't know, you ever play Dungeons and Dragons or anything like that?
I was a Magic kid. Well, not
Okay.
kid, not kid. Sorry. Um, in the army, I got into Magic the Gathering, and then a year later, we got married and we got pregnant. So all the excess spending money I had went to that. So that kind of killed my Magic career, along with just the shop up in Fort Drum. Once I moved to New York, it was they didn't play standard very much, say at least. So it just
Right.
disincentivized me. But no, I like that. I like RPGs, even though I don't get like deep into them. But no, I totally like that kind of medieval fantasy.
My uncle owned a card store when I was a teenager. Well, probably younger than that. And my cousin introduced us to Magic the Gathering long ago, and all his stuff was beta. And my uncle owned a card, like I said, my uncle owned the card store, so I got him to get me a box of, I guess it was revised or maybe third edition, whichever they call it now. And yeah, so we were into that for a good long time. But yeah, I always thought about, I used to play D&D back in the day growing up, and I always thought, you always have that scenario where it probably happens a lot in video games too. Your character gets married or whatever, and they run off and still adventure. And I thought, well, what's being in that family like? And so I started building a world kind of around that idea.
Okay. No, this is so. How long do you envision this? Do you see it just being a continuous story, or do you have like some people plan like a 12, 24 issue, what have you?
I was originally thinking that, um, even a couple of years ago, I was thinking that I was originally going to do this as maybe like a series of fantasy novels. And then I plotted out a good bit. I've written probably half the first one. And I thought it would be so much more fun as a comic. So, but to answer your question, that's why we're doing number 0 first. Just to kind of, it's a full length comic, 22 pages plus some extras. And we just want to introduce everyone to what's going on and what we're bringing here. And then that's kind of what, kind of what you described as a market test to a degree with Stranger Things. And assuming number 0 goes well, we will move forward with volume 1, which will be or in the neighborhood of 90 pages, and it will be a complete, complete story of its own.
uh, just in the chat really quick. Hello, got the Senate. I got Stevie J movie reviews. I need to stream them at some point. Cinedave. I'm not creative. Obi-Wan reviews. He said moo. Of course, my channel is very much bovine themed. You might
Right.
like that being down in Texas. Uh,
I'm a transplant.
oh, where are you originally from?
Oh man, all over the southeast, Florida, Georgia.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
See,
I've
this is why I
lived.
was thinking Kansas or something because I think I saw like Texas whatever in your on your Twitter, but I was like, huh. I heard your voice and I thought maybe he's from like Kansas or somewhere where it's like Southern accent, but like not Texas per se. Or
I
I
lived
heard a
in
little something
I
in there.
I lived in New England for quite a while, and so I picked up a little of this and that from everywhere. So
No, that's cool. Sorry, I'm just addressing the chat really quick.
oh yeah, what's up,
I'm not.
chat?
This is the smallest stream I've had in a while. I'm used to 5 to 10, kind of like comicsgate live format. Just like let's flood it. It's not a fucking dull moment at all. So I've had a few though, like especially with like being on here a year now. I'm kind of more at ease going at as long as you're not like dull. I've had like maybe 2 people if I didn't have a co-host it would have been like pulling teeth. But this is going great. It's still foreign to me a bit. But
Right.
look, they got a lot of good stuff, and you're saying stuff that's already generating questions for me. Uh, really quick. Boom.
Yeah. Let me.
Um. So do you talk? Are you married, or do you talk with like your friends about this? Like, do you have anyone in your like circle that is, not into comics or not heavy? At least they might watch it, but they're not heavy into nerddom, and so this might be like foreign to them. Do you ever address this stuff, or is it just like I'll keep it to myself? Or are you waiting to see maybe success and then be like, haha, you should have been in the comicsgate, fuckers?
Yeah. I have some people that are close who know what's going on. And yeah, they dig it.
Nice, nice. So I was wondering, um, why'd you pick a female lead character? Is this a response to the political climate currently? And let's make a female that really isn't. It's like, well, I made a female, so why don't you like this one? Is it something like? Is there any angle like that intrinsically, or is it just I want to draw a hot babe with a sword, and it just kind of coincidental with the climate we're in?
Um, for a long time, I always liked I always liked female heroes back in the day, from any genre you pretty much want to name. And I don't know. I realized one day that I didn't really necessarily like the way they were being written now. And so, and yeah, I didn't put her in a potato sack.
So you are, just from that comment, I assume you were at least cognizant of Star Wars, if not a deep fan. We'll get into that. I'm
Yeah,
interested in this because
I'm
comics are
aware. Yeah, I'm aware.
because comics are. I've read here and there a few stories because I own like most of the DC animated until the last like year or two. I've definitely seen like a drop in quality with probably Justice League Dark, where I'm like, I don't know about this. But I've read like Watchmen 300, like pretty much anything Frank Miller I'm trying to read at some point. Contract with God, I recommend to everyone. And it's like no one knows this graphic novel. It's very iconic. Yeah, mainly Batman, and I'm trying to read like X-Men. I'm halfway through the Mystique run from '06, and I'm really loving it. And of course, Comicsgate kind of keyed me off, and generally the few stuff I've read from Comicsgate, I'm like, yes, this is good to great. Cyberfrog looks amazing. Lone Star. Um, I've restrained from reviewing it just to not hurt Comicsgate as a general thing, given Mike Miller's standing as a success, regardless of quality or his how would I say it, handling of himself on social media and his content, to say the least. so
Right, right.
I guess I'll just let him fall on his own sword at some point. But I'm not gonna stab him in the back, or figuratively in any sense, to hurt the brand per se. I think but there is you might think what you want, but I think he definitely hurts the brand. He's someone that everything they want to say about EVS, they can actually pull from Miller, but he doesn't have the clout, so they don't really go after him.
Right, right. Yeah, like I say, I'm new to a lot of this anyway. So, yeah, I like what everybody's got going. So
Yeah, really quick, we got Red Gaze has joined us. He is building I would say a very 50-50 Comicsgate Fandom Menace channel. He is in harmony with Caesar. I'm really liking that. Say hi, Red Gaze, and tell Wyatt a little bit about yourself. I don't know if you've been on the Art City comic stream that he was on, his first stream.
Howdy. No, I missed that stream, but I spoke with Wyatt a little bit earlier today when he dropped some news. The comic looks good, and I'm looking forward to it. Sorry, I didn't want to be rude and interrupt you guys. I've been lurking for a little bit.
Yeah, no, I saw you pop in, and I'm like, I gotta find a spot in here, but I'm getting to know Wyatt. Luckily, me and Red Gaze have streamed a lot within the short time I've known him, so there's already that kind of sense of trust in streams where it's like, yeah, I'm not afraid if he pops in compared to like some people. It's like, oh, got to time this guy right on a stream.
No, I can keep my mouth shut.
No, I wouldn't mind though if you're just like, hello.
I almost popped in there when you were talking about Mike Miller, and you were hung up on words there a little bit, and you were trying to think of something to say about his. I wanted to chime in with rape fantasy, but
Wow. See, I don't even
But I
know.
didn't. I didn't.
I don't even know his content that much. I just read Lone Star because someone, I don't know if they fell out with him or comicsgate or what, but they're like, I don't want to just waste this and throw it away. If someone wanted, I'm like, me. And so they got my contact, sent it to me, and it's really fast. So then I read it, excited because Rookie Critic did a review, and he seemed pretty, at least giving it like a 6, 7 out of 10. I would say from how I took his review, and then I read it. I was like, dude, what were you looking at? Like, did you really think like this was great or something? And he's like, like
I think it had potential, and I don't know. I mean, like I said before, his drawing is definitely much stronger than his writing, and I think if he would just maybe asked for some suggestions, I think he would have been all right.
Yeah, I mean, I understand I don't know everything, but I understand he like kind of rushed the project to get money, given the bad dealings he had with the Meg or something. But even that
seems to be the case. But I don't want to rush to judgment too much.
Yeah, even with that, just as someone who, I can used to when I started writing scripts for my videos, I did a lot of editing, and now it's like I'm pretty consistent editing in my head. So I don't even retype my stuff. I'm pretty good at just reading it over once, seeing boom, 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 and then like with storylines and stuff. Like you've seen the streams. It's not like we've said this like we do later, but like there's also it comes up with narratives of like Game of Thrones or something. Like I was drunk on a bottle of beer, like a Game of Thrones bottle of beer and like 2 glasses of whiskey. And I was still able to say, if they just did this in editing and blah, 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 Game of Thrones, boom, same story, would have been perfect. And so, yeah, I think there's just some common sense there, narratively, that you can have without having a background in writing or comics that it seems lacking. And, I haven't really had dealings with him. He does have more clout than me, clearly, with his art and being a bigger channel and stuff. But I shed some light on this before we get more in with because I just want to get this all out at once since Red Gaze had his comments. Then we can focus again on getting to know Wyatt completely. And Wyatt said
yes, that's
he's
why
kind
we're
of in the blind. He's kind of in the blind too with some stuff he's new to us. So this will just show some perspective, I guess. Let me go to my profile, tweets. So I kept seeing this in my feed when I refreshed. Mike Miller said like something like hashtag Pride Month, Pride is a sin, and that was clearly like a troll, given his very hard right Christian conservatism, and that's fine. I don't view people that are anti-LGBT religiously as bigots. It's textual. It's part of their faith and morality. So there's a reason. It's not like, oh, I just hate men having sex because for no reason or something, whatever.
Yeah.
And me as a bi person, I can handle it. I don't demonize people for the having a stance against part of me. Let me find it really quick. I'm still scrolling through. Okay, yeah. So he said, "Pride is a sin." Hashtag Pride Month. And so then I really thought about this for a whole day before. I didn't want to just like outrage him because I wasn't going to outrage just because, oh, I'm bi or something, wave my flag. It wasn't like that. And so I said, comicsgate is great because it allows creators to be free to express themselves outside the assigned narrative. Being anti-LGBT because your holy text deems it so is not something I, a bi atheist, see as bigoted because there's a morality you prescribe to, even though I disagree. Regardless, this attempt at trolling only hurts your specific brand and size of potential customers. I don't know, but I assume EVS, a Mormon Christian, believes non-hetero lifestyle is sinful, but he has the business tact to restrain that potential view because he wants everyone's money, even SJWs. Learn from his style of trolling as he mocks the superficial identifiers, buzzwords, but not potential customer identities. You are not Comicsgate on your own, but what you do and say can be generalized on all of us. And never got a response at all with this, I would say, very respectful but critical comment at him.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. That was pretty well written.
But Ro sees this and he shares like the Comicsgate gay memes and stuff they have, the war campaign.
Of course.
And he's like responding to that, like petty stuff, just kind of reverse trolling him. but he can't actually engage like a real comment. And it's like, it's not that I'm special. I'm like, everyone else is just, like, fuck you, Mike Miller, you fucking bigot, or, all these like outrage responses. And it's like, I could be a customer. But given the first book and given like his personality, with his social media, with his very open, hard stances that aren't friendly to a lot of customers, I can't support. I don't care if even Caesar has done his, covers or something and help promote him. I can't get behind him.
Yeah, I can understand that. I was considering. I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence as to whether or not I want to give Lone Star 2 a try. I mean, the first one was kind of a letdown, but it wasn't that bad, and it was just an opener. But yeah, I don't know. I've been focusing honestly mostly on like smaller creators at this point, because I just
really
want to
like
see a
what you're
lot
doing.
of new names get out there. Like when I see something that looks quality from somebody I've never heard of, I want to get it out there and I want to take a look myself. So I've kind of been giving the bigger names a bit of a rest and focusing on the smaller guys.
Yeah, I mean,
speaking of, what's up, Wyatt?
Hey, how's
Good
it
to
going,
talk
man?
to you.
Good. How about yourself?
I am well. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to stick around too long tonight, Angus, but I didn't want to leave you hanging. I saw the...
No, you're fine. Crystal McGee might come in at some point. Remains to be seen, and possibly Sierra Whiskey, which I have not streamed with him knowingly as well. So that'd be cool to get people mixed in.
Yeah.
Wyatt, if you want to DM me your channel that your trailer might go on, that way we can start at least getting you some subs.
Oh, definitely.
To be ready. That way it's like you're a little ahead of the game. Renegades, anything you want to know about Ardanna? I linked, and this for everyone as well in the chat. Top of the description, Ardanna issue 0 campaign, or what do you call it?
Indiegogo.
No. I know it's for Indiegogo, but you're normally it's like a campaign like already, but yours is like
it's the pre-launch.
Pre-launch. There we go. Yeah, that's the word I need to get more familiar with. There we go. Pre-launch. Get that in my head. His pre-launch page is at the very top of this description, so go check it out. Sign up for his the newsletter or what have you for updates, and there's some perks with it as well, I guess, once you launch.
Oh yes, absolutely. We haven't announced very many of the extras yet, but anyone who signs up for the mailing list, you'll have access to several different perks that aren't otherwise available, including discounted tiers, and some things that won't be available otherwise.
No, I'm looking forward to it. So how long have you? I don't know who the Steve Flores is. I was looking at the pre-launch page, and it's like Eric Weathers. I've heard Eric Weathers before as a letterer, so I guess he's like a more common guy through comicsgate.
Yeah, I think he letters every comicsgate book.
But
So.
I don't know about.
Not really, but it's close.
So D Flores, what's some other work he's done, or is he a new guy?
We've known each other a while. He's a new guy. At the moment, he's kind of on the fence on how, in the public he wants to be. So I'm respecting that. I wouldn't want, anything to come down on him if, because he may want to work. He doesn't want to get blacklisted. I don't want him to get blacklisted before he starts. So.
No, it's awesome. And not to get your hopes up, but this can be really cool. Your second stream, you might have a guy with 30,000 subs come on here and hang out with you. So this is perfect timing. This is gonna be awesome. I just threw it out there to him, like, hey, you want to come on? I know he's busy, so I never know when he'll like respond. But I'm like, oh shit, like this is gonna be great. It's great for you, great for me, great for everyone. Let me see really quick. Oh, let me address the chat really quick, because I know I went on a little splurge with the Mike Miller discussion.
Oh, Angus, I just want to say quick, if you want to lock it on me real quick, I got some Ardanna art on the screen.
Present. Boom. All right, you're presenting.
Sorry.
Yeah, this reminds me of, I haven't like read or gone into the products, but I think it's like character Angelus or something from I'm trying to think what company it is. It's like I think it's people that do like Dawn, if you know that comic or character.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
I think it's that company. I'm not certain. Was it like MC or FC Turner or something like that? That artist or
You
statue
may
maker?
be talking about Michael Turner.
Michael. Yeah, I think it's it.
That was Witchblade and
There we go.
Fandom.
Which yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. There we go. Yeah, it's evoking some of that, especially that one. If you can go back, Red Gaze, there was just like the black and white, her at like a I don't know, quarter angle or 3/4 angle.
Yep.
Yeah, that really evoked some. So like, how many? I know there's like a crabbish, like crazy monster that this guy fights in the pre-launch
Yeah.
2-page screening. How many fantastical creatures are going to be in this?
Quite a few. And then there will, be quite the interplay with demons and things of that nature. It's kind of one of your usual tropes of sword and sorcery is magic almost always comes from a dark place. And so there will be plenty of demons and creatures such as this. And yeah, the crab guy, actually in this picture, he's actually telling a story. And that's why he's also in the foreground as well in that top panel. And so, yeah, this guy is actually her father. And this is a flashback scene early in the book. And he's kind of telling her the story of one of his latest adventure.
I'm really excited because we've got some of this in Force Awakens, and then Last Jedi never addressed it. So I can't wait for you to subvert my expectations of the second issue.
Man, we're to the point now to where going counterculture is what is just doing what used to be done that was done right.
Yeah, that's for real.
I mean, it's like, wow. I mean, if you agree with everything the current status quo says, you're such a rebel. I mean, apparently, I don't want to be mediocre, but a lot of people seem to be okay with it.
Yeah. Really quick, just in the chat. So you got where is it? Thomas Gilkey came in. I'm not sure if he's still in here, but hell, Thomas Gilkey. Hope stuff's going well for you. Pussy Centipede. Great to see you in here.
Love that guy.
Great supporter. Yeah, no, I love. It used to be Kitty Glitter, so now it's like some of his stuff would have pussy and stuff in it, and that was already kind of like whoa. And now it's just his name's Pussy Centipede. So it's like I love it. Just going straight to town with that. I'm not creative still here. The red GAYZ gaze. Okay. The red gay. I always joke with him in Twitter on that. Patriarch of the Sith, he says, Angus, I find your fascination with Elsie disturbing.
I don't. It's perfectly natural. Don't let him shame you.
Yeah, I wish. See, the reason I actually, because it's not my art. I found it on Pinterest, but I've looked. I can't find, unless it's actually Elsie, which it's still a parody, I assume. So I can't find the artist of the parody. So that's why I use it for my marketing and why it's available like on the Teespring and stuff. Because otherwise, I would try to make sure like it's kosher with the person. But whatever. But yeah, I love it. I just I was looking for sexy cow art to market and retool, and I found that. I'm like, this is perfect. And it's tits, but it's utter tits, so I can get away with like the nudity.
Yeah, that's pretty hot actually. I've seen that.
Carl Manvers, what's up? Have you hit up Josiah Rises, Carl Manvers? Let me know if you have. And I think I'm almost caught up. Let me see. Okay, so kind of looks like Red Sonja. Yeah, that's another good one to vote. That goes with Conan, though, I guess. I haven't watched or read Red Sonja, but I actually have a sealed DVD I found at the thrift shop. He also says, what's the tentacle count? That's addressed to you, Wyatt.
Tentacle count. In number 0, we're gonna have to stick with 0. No tentacles, I'm afraid. Yeah, we're shooting for I guess the equivalent of PG-13. It's gonna have blood and violence, and yeah, the women are sexy, and the kind of things that people generally like.
No, it sounds fun. I kind of unrelated, but just this might tie in, or you just give people more of a background with your personality or interests. Have either of y'all? We'll start with Wyatt though. Have either of y'all seen the new Wonder Woman 84 poster? It's the first official poster reveal by Patty Jenkins on Twitter.
Yeah, I've seen it.
What are your thoughts?
I think it'll look perfect when it's worn by a man.
Well, the thing is, it already was. I mean, Thor's been wearing that for how long now?
Yeah, I saw that, and it's like they put Aquaman. And it's a perfect Pride Month poster. If you look at that color scheme, it's like, this is they waited for this month to do this to pander, but also it evokes like Ragnarok and Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Right, yeah.
Aquaman's uniform. So I'm just like,
you know what else it evokes? WWE. I really got that from the logo in the background.
Huh, I didn't even think of that. But special surprise, Wyatt, buddy. John Talks is in here in the house to hang out with us. Thanks, John, for coming in for this my first really official comicsgate devoted stream. How's it going, John?
It's going good. How you guys doing?
Hey, John, pretty well.
If you want, Wyatt is the writer for the project Ardanna, issue 0. And the link's at the top of the description if you want to check out his page. Red Gaze was showing us some art. Let me present him. And you can look at that on the screen if you got the chat up for yourself, John. But yeah, it's a sword and sorcery. It's doing the female lead. Off the bat, any thoughts you have, John, about this project? Just seeing the artwork.
Looks pretty good. Yeah, I'd say it looks pretty enticing. So, yeah, pretty
my
good
only
stuff.
complaint is I assume there's only 1 nipple per breast, and I prefer 4. But everything else seems great.
Well, you saw the crab man. Wait till you see the cow man.
Oh man, watch him make like an Angus character in the background.
Got to take the bull by the horns.
Yeah, sometimes just one nipple isn't enough for some guys on each breast. That's why Black Angus like the Last Jedi. You at least got 4 nipples there.
I actually did a video. I don't know if I used it, but I know I had Rookie's video he did for you, John. I had it ready to use your clip of the teats. Did you see that?
I think I did, yeah.
I almost used it from the last video I did about where I used like Red Gaze. He definitely caught it where I zoomed in on the teats of the Mer camel or whatever, the siren, and I really thought about using your sound bite, the teats.
I was channeling Ben Stiller from Meet the Parents. You remember the scene, right? When he's at the dinner table.
I was talking about this the other day with I was joking like being like an idiot conservative. It's like, how do you even milk a soybean? You know.
Does it have nipples?
I got nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? Oh man, but yeah, I'm not gonna say much about it, but thought it was actually not funny. I was gonna say, wasn't gonna say much about it, but John has some cool stuff on where, so I'm trying to use my searches and stuff. I guess trying to overlap a lot like EVS with comicsgate and Fandom Menace. So, given some insider knowledge, say the least, I'm trying to help out John. So, hopefully, he starts building some more comicsgate community in his following as well to better suit him. So,
good. He deserves.
This is to help everyone.
Oh, I
I'm glad
appreciate it,
you
man.
came. I appreciate you swinging
Yeah.
by, even if it's a short time. Let's see. Why? I was going to ask you, what are some of your favorite comic characters or like certain books or what have you, so people can start learning or become interested in stories they may not know about that inspires you?
Right. Well, to be honest, I haven't read that a ton of new stuff in the past few years. I've read some comicsgate books, of course, but yeah. Gosh, growing up, I grew up mostly in the '90s, so everything at that time was cool. But Spawn, X-Men.
Yeah, I hear
I,
Spawn right off the bat. I'm like,
I
yes.
started I started reading X-Men, I guess around the Mutant Massacre, maybe when I was like middle school age. A buddy of mine kept talking about Mutant Massacre, Mutant Massacre. I was like, okay, I'll read it. And so then I got into X-Men, and it's hard to not like Spider-Man. So I always grew up with Spider-Man and the Hulk. And eventually I got into, Spawn, Preacher, The Darkness, The Authority.
I need to read The Preacher because I know, is it Enos or Ennis? I heard EVS on yesterday's stream say Ennis, but I always think Enos, especially, knowing the Dukes of Hazzard just makes it funnier to read that name.
I think EVS would be the authority on that.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
Garth
I would go
Ennis,
with however he pronounces it.
I love his Punisher Max, and so I've heard good things about the Preacher show. I've heard outrage about the Preacher show as well, so I really want to read that. I like ballsy shit, even if it's stuff I might not agree with, as long as it's like well, I'll address that later. The Renfamous Kickstarter project, because I'll just address that later because like
It's appropriately named.
I was about to say that.
There's certain outrage things where it's like, yeah, let's just have some balls and do what we want, and there's other stuff where it's like, why would you do that? But I'll get to that later. Carl Mambers in the chat says that EVS said live he may be leaving the High Council. Carl, could you tell me why? I only have so much time, so I was watching a little bit of his demonetization stream, but if you can inform us, appreciate that. You also got me82SJM, oi oi, Angus, what's up, bruv? Not much, just hanging out, getting comicsgate gay in the house.
You could probably just shorten that to comics gay.
Yeah, no, I thought about that, but you gotta keep it the gate in there, so you can hashtag it properly. Cool. No, so I assume you were into Spider-Man, I guess, during the McFarlane era, like late '80s, early '90s.
Absolutely, man. Amazing 300 was brought me back to Spider-Man. So yeah, definitely McFarlane era, sure.
Good times. Yeah.
Yeah, good times,
that was
man.
That was when Spider-Man, I don't know, that for me was like some of the best Spidey art, and just a good time to be reading comics.
Yeah, that was a definitive Spider-Man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I've heard a story where someone was talking about Todd McFarlane told, I forget who the writers were. It was someone he didn't get along with at Marvel, and he said, "Yeah, you talk about the big eyes I put on Spider-Man and the spaghetti webs I draw, but you know what? Every kid who gets on their bicycle and goes down to the local gas station thinks it's the coolest thing they ever saw, and they don't care about you." And,
Sure.
and I was one of those kids, and he was right.
Yeah.
So,
No, I think that was in the I think that bit was in the Untold Story of Marvel Comics, which is a great book. Like if any of you guys are, it's massive though, so I just got on audiobook, but it's pretty crazy how like these guys would just curse and swear at each other, and he got in fights with his editor, and because they were always trying to like you said, just hold him back creatively, and that ultimately pushed him out of Marvel.
So I saw a K in the chat, formerly Thug Life Jeremy, said Spider-Man's the best superhero, don't at me. And Patriarch says Patriarch of the Sith says, "For once, I agree with you to that." Uh, yeah, I'm surprised Kay's not gotten. I mean, maybe it's old news now, so he doesn't care because he lost. But we had an argument about the wokeness of Brie Larson. So, and I didn't get to rebut, and so I did channel that into a video at him, and he forfeited, I guess. So, yeah, you're officially a virgin, and I am the triumphant Chad. Did you see that video? Yeah, you saw that video, John. The Chad and the virgin.
Yeah, well, here's a crazy thing. Like, Lethal Lighten just disappeared.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. Yeah,
yeah,
Chad stuff.
What happened?
I mean, perhaps this is like. I'm wondering with the
was it your video?
No, he loved it. No, he loved it.
I'm sure it was. It was probably it.
Well, I mean, my video is his own fault, so like, don't put it out there if you don't want it memed.
Sure, blame the victim.
Well, we are toxic males. But no, he's. I don't know if he's just distracted or what, but just the upkeep and stuff. Maybe it's not worth it since he's still waiting for monetization and stuff. He's hit all the markers. It might be that. I'm not sure, but he is just focusing on his career, his job, or what have you right now, from what I understand. Perhaps, though, with this demonetization little splurge of YouTube with Dash, with Crowder, Sinatra says, a bunch of others, perhaps he's just staying on the radar and then coming back and in a month or two or whenever, and trying to get back on board that way and kind of go under the radar with that stuff. That could be a secondary thing, perhaps, but maybe he's just kind of tired not getting rewarded for the work he's done, and just kind of like, why put in the work if nothing's coming of it? Yeah, I'm not sure, but no, it is sad. It's like, man, we're just doing great. I'm like, I just tweeted out, and we're like, I'm closing the gap on you, Lethal. Now it's you just, in this act has forfeited the race, and I'm like,
Well, maybe he'll come back.
Yeah, watch him come back, and it turns out he's like some like mega 100,000 channel in Australia for like, hi, I'm Lethal Light, and let's talk about wallabies. Like.
The next Steve Irwin.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be hilarious. Or like he probably, I don't know if he's a banker or like what his work is. That'd be funny if he's just like some banker and so he does like little infomercials for his branch or something. That'd be hilarious. So yeah, you were talking earlier, Wyatt, that your background writing is you write like for engineering standards, if you will. What did you get like any like education in writing before you got this career, or like, and what was that if you did?
Yeah. Just your general bachelor's in English, and then I just kind of fell into the engineering side of things, and for a while I did storyboards for like commercials and things like that, and then eventually I found my way in on the engineering side of everything. So
did you start like storyboarding your own ideas?
To a degree, yeah. You always need, well, most people always need a good outline. You need to know what you're going to write before you sit down and fly by the seat of your pants. Although some people like that, doing it that way, but I'm a planner.
No, that's cool. I bet that was perhaps easier transfer of like vision for your artists, because if like you don't have like sketches or anything, then they're kind of going in blind, and then it might take longer to develop what you want, and so you're wasting money that way too, because you got to reward the guy for his work still.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, man, he's great. Yeah, one day I'll have to show off the original sketch of Ardanna that I did myself. It's great.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting.
It's most impressive.
Oh, you're mocking yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
No, no. The way you said that, it didn't sound sarcastic. So I figured, like, yeah, I don't really draw, but I really put a lot into sketch. No, you totally how to remind me there. That was great. It's a vase. It's a vase. Really quick, I want to say hi to you. I haven't seen you in chat in a while. I know you've been busy with your film stuff in, I think, France. Quick suggestion to market yourself better. You should change it to "It's a Gay Productions." It's Pride Month. Take advantage of it. Put a little rainbow on your avatar.
Who, me?
And no, it's a vase.
Oh,
in the chat. And well, yeah, you know what?
Yeah, I can make the
Why-
little hand and the collar
Yeah,
there, rainbow.
Yeah, you could do the collar or the tie rainbow. And I was even thinking John Talks, you could, do a Pride Month name and like John Talks gay stuff, or I
don't know. Because of the gay?
John lisps.
And of course, Red Gaze could just change the the lettering of his name to Red Gayz.
Oh yeah, you got that covered.
Yeah, and you would also fool the urban community with the Z. They might think it's like a gay rap channel.
Oh, two birds. Two birds, one Z.
Yeah, you can get some trick clicks on there. I
think that's
tried that a
all I
little
get
bit.
Actually.
I try to do that with my. I did a Soy Voice Mary Sue video reading their article about Captain Marvel, and so I kept the wording pretty much the same as the article, and it's stop talking about Brie Larson, man. And yeah, it's I have fun showing that to people like kind of like outside of Fandom Menace. They don't really follow all this in-depth talk about libtards in the media, and I get a kick when they get to like the last part where I'm like, so you talking about Chris Pratt? No, because he's a man. Speaking of that, with because Caesar EVS inspired a lot of us, or for myself, is actually Jeff Hicks that gave me the courage to start just talking on YouTube, and I'm glad I started with something positive. I started with just everything I loved about A Quiet Place, and of course I was in an astronomy class the semester before, so it was like very much about how to search like biologically where you would look for life. So I had that angle with the aliens, and it's really happy. And I was just wondering, how did you get into Phantom Menace or Caesar Falling, or wherever you started? How did you get into comicsgate and or Phantom Menace?
Well, we had already started working on this comic. Actually, I was already going to move forward with this project, and I was debating whether I should, how we were going to go about everything. And ultimately, I came up with the idea to crowdfund, see how things work out, and I was trying to determine whether to go with Kickstarter or Indiegogo, because I wasn't keeping up with everything, so to speak, and I had heard some things, some shady events that happened that may or may not have happened at Kickstarter, and then my research actually led me to one of EVS's videos, and I started watching, and I was like, I learned about all the stuff going on with your boy Zach and Mark Wade, and I was like, this is crazy. This is I don't know, yeah. And so then, I thought, this is definitely the sort of thing I agree with, especially now that I know it's happening. And, so.
So not John Talks.
I'm sorry?
So not John. I was putting you on the spot with our guest.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, you at least have to have like a slight correlation to bring it back. There's got to be something, I'm not even involved in Comicsgate.
No, I'll be honest. John was one of the first people I started listening to after I had it with The Last Jedi, when he was much, much smaller than he is now. So I appreciate you, John.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. You hear that, Black Angus? He appreciates me.
Oh, well, I wouldn't have. Clearly, I appreciate you with the DMs I've sent you.
No.
Angus has trouble expressing his feelings sometimes.
Speaking of that, it was funny. Someone they had a gag at my I'm not creative. He's like, ha, gay. And Patriarch of the Sis says, I'm not changing my name to Patriarch of the Sissies, Angus. Hey, I mean, each their own. While we're at it, let me know in the chat how you think, and give me your votes. Best name, I might change it for Pride Month. Some false gay marketing with my name.
How about Black Anus?
Yeah, no, I'm waiting for a parody account with that. Like, I'm totally down for Black Anus reviews or Black Penis reviews or any of that. Yeah, like go at it. I'm flattered if you have the balls to have a Black Anus reviews channel. I'd love to see your content. You
want to see the content of the Black Anus, do you?
Yeah.
I can only imagine the avatar.
It's probably that guy. They could use a picture of that guy's asshole that he tweeted at EVS.
Oh god!
Oh my god!
Like who in their right mind? Like, can you imagine the thought process of an individual like that? Like literally thinking to themselves, like as they're going through this whole process, and are they just not thinking about the consequences that this will be on the internet forever?
I think he was too busy teeheeing his whole way through taking the picture and posting it. Well, probably posted right off his phone, straight from the ass shot.
Well, I mean, okay, that was a spread shot, so I think someone else took that for him.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Like, oh, we're gonna get that EVS guy. The joke's really on him.
I loved it though, because I've been trying to find the stream. I don't know if it was on Bullshitters or where is that, but he was discussing this, and he's like, I'm a sexual assault victim. This is when some Me Too stuff was really big at the time, and he's really hamming it up. And he's like, oh, all this stuff and all this harassment stuff with SJW creators, but someone sends me an explicit picture of their asshole, and nothing about EVS, and he's like, they hate us because they ain't us. I wish that was still going on. That was a great hashtag.
Yeah. You know what I wish was still going on? Have you seen Cecil's Robbie Rectum?
No.
Following that? Oh, that was beautiful. He had a mask and everything. It was great.
No, that sounds. I love the one he did making fun of Jussie Smollett, where it's he had a letter and then he opened his turn around and there was his nephew and niece or whatever, and he started getting attacked. He's like, "This is a hate crime." Or no, the letter said "This is MAGA country" or something. Tinfoil hat. I've only changed my name once. It used to be Black Angus 4, and it's because number 4 is gone back a long time with myself. A lot of different Neopets or whatever. I've always liked the number 4. It's not a Brett Favre thing. I don't know what it is, but I like number 4.
Is it like a nipple thing with The Last Jedi? 4?
Perhaps. Looking back, it's been like a destiny type thing where it's just 4 is destined in my life. What does it mean? I got to decode it. No, it's just kind of coincidental. But it's Black Angus 4, and then I was like, well, I'm going to keep Black Angus and use AC/DC imagery to market. But how do I sell my channel? So that's why I added the reviews. That's why I haven't just gone as Black Angus. Because if you have reviews, people will see your comment and actually might click on you and think, oh, this guy reviews something. Is it state? Is it hotels? What is it? And so that's why
I get that. They look at mine and think, oh, this guy just looks at stuff. Fuck him.
I mean, you should, if you wanted to change your avatar, you could, make it the male gaze, have a human eye. Or...
I considered that, but I don't know.
Black Anus reviews dicks. Awesome.
There it is.
I gotta get on my phone and screenshot this. This is great.
It was headed there.
Headed.
I really want to see the avatar change.
Yeah.
Oh my god! You know what? I love. So speaking of dicks, all right. So
Nice segue.
It's always a great segue.
speaking of dicks, there's a culture in the army of dicking people's hats. All right. So everything you do with your attire in the military, with your gear and stuff, in garrison life, on like stateside, it's all meant to kind of imprint on your mind, so you're focused on this stuff naturally, like that. In combat, where it matters, where it's like, hey, fix your fucking nameplate or blah blah blah, just stupid shit. Like, why does this really matter? But it, ingrains in you, and then you go overseas, and now you're like, you look someone over like for 5 seconds to know if they need to fix their, combat gear. And so, dicking people's hat is a tradition where you leave your headgear unattended. Someone's going to take a Sharpie and draw a dick inside the hat. All right. And so, like, at least when I was in the material, there was about 4 layers of fabric. So you could go through 3 dickings before you needed a new hat, because then you get to the 4th layer, depending how much they ink it, it could bleed through the other side. And of course, you don't want like someone to see the top of your hat. Yeah. So this transfers. The reason they do this, just as like a troll, is your helmet, your or not necessarily bulletproof helmet, but your protective helmet, kind of transfers in the place of your headgear. So that's why they dick your hat. And so I took that, and when I was at school one day, to teach this person a lesson like about social media awareness. All right, so you're on a public computer in the library at school, and this guy left his Facebook login when I was about to go on Facebook, and I'm like, and like saw his messages. You see like this history where he's just like not harassing me, he's kind of like the creeper where it's like instantly trying to like getting every girl's DM and stuff that probably doesn't know him. And I just thought it'd be funny. So like I ended up like unfriending everyone but people that were deactivated. All of his friends were deactivated. And then I changed his avatar and his cover, his Facebook cover, to one was like an artistic black and white photo of a big black dick with a gun. For some reason, the person was holding a gun, like in the same direction as their somewhat hard dick, and then the cover was a gay bukkake scene. So when he would log in, he would be very surprised.
Oh my goodness.
And the lesson is this is the dicking transferring to social media, where it's like
Digitally
this guy will never forget to log out of a public computer.
Do you think he got that though, or do you think he just got home and went, "Oh, I've been hacked"? It was probably that damn Joe.
But yeah, that's dicking transferred into another facet of life.
That's digital dicking there.
Oh my god, I gotta write that
There's
down.
a dick for every medium.
Digital dicking. And if this ever is like an Urban Dictionary thing where they're like,
Dictionary.
Where's the origin of this, it'll credit John Talks 2019.
It's always what I wanted to be known for.
John Talks, famous Fandom minister, YouTube creator, former orthodontist employee, and creator of the term digital dicking.
Now known as John Dick.
But no, that's amazing. I have Black Anus Reviews dicks. Awesome. I'm proud. This is very gay. Caesar would be proud.
As you should be.
That's pretty good for like your first account too. I mean, they went all in on that one.
No pun intended.
Maybe a little bit.
Just
so Wyatt, what are your thoughts on the digital dicking and the dicking culture of the army? Do you think that's comicsgate gay or just regular gay?
Well, before we get to that, I don't even know how you send a grown man a picture of your anus and call yourself a professional at anything.
It's still stuck on the butthole.
He's been sitting there stewing on that this whole time, like that fucking Robbie Rodriguez and his anus.
I saw it once, and it's burned in my mind forever. And you guys just brought that back up. And,
Oh man!
but the digital dicking, yeah, man, it was the same way in the Navy.
Oh, you're a Navy. Okay. So you totally understand. It's guys like, yeah, it's no. You know, you're probably thinking nothing of this till I talk about doing it to some stranger's Facebook. Yeah, and this, I think of this too. I think someone could digitally dick me, so I'm always logging out of my shit, even though the computer's supposed to refresh everything, reset everything on restart. Yeah, I log out every time.
Hey, and if you're listening out there, this is the guy.
Well, it was funnier, I don't know per se, but I can assume, given his name was very like Arabic, that he was a Muslim. So seeing those images as his cover art and profile picture, that's the other reason it might be funny.
Did you should have went on his account afterwards and just seen like how he reacted to it? Like, did you do that? I'm assuming you didn't.
Oh,
No, it was one of those.
Follow up?
I thought of friending myself, so then I could like friend him and follow him, but I'm like, no, because then that'll like I've unfriended everyone but deactivated accounts, so his feed is just gonna be dead. The only thing he's gonna see in his feed is his own comments. Snowdub says, "This is a sausage fest. Too many dicks on the dance floor. Need to spread out the hot dogs and add some buns."
Is that an offer?
Oh man, this is great. Wyatt, what is some stupid shit you've done in the Navy?
Yeah, poor Wyatt.
Oh gosh. Stupid shit. I've seen a lot of stupid shit. I didn't really do much of it. But I think really the best part of it for me is watching people who are like 18. I was a little older when I went in, and so watching people who are like 18 come in and they just get yelled at and they do the dumbest shit. And I don't know. I found it amusing to watch people. I like when people have to pay for stupidity.
The only thing I can think of in the Army that was just like really stood out, and it wasn't even important or anything, but it's very like looking back, like if this was 5 years later, the sergeant might have got counseled for homophobic nature or whatever. I don't know. But we were like, it's one of the last weeks in basic. It was like one of the last major things. And we're like walking in formation. I just kind of got distracted. Just kind of like mine, just got lost in the sauce, looking at the sky and stuff, not like, dress right, marching forward. And like the sergeant's like walking by my line and accidentally swing my arm. I like grazed his hand. And it was he made like some gay, snark at me. And it's like trying to hold my hand private, like, and like, I was just kind of like taken aback, just kind of like lost and like, oh man, like I was just totally unaware of the moment. And so it just flew past me. I was just disoriented, but just like the tone, the nature of that is funny, especially in today's climate where that's a no.
Right.
I mean, I imagine that still goes on today, though. They probably don't care, do they? Or do you think they're...
Oh, no, John. When I was in, at least once every quarter, we had to have SHARP training, which is sexual harassment and rape prevention. And essentially it's like Brie Larson, Me Too type shit, where it's like, pretty much be paranoid of your battle buddies raping you. And, it's like women are attacked all the time, but even if you're a guy, be afraid. And it's just like, there's no camaraderie built from this, but it's required. And it's all kind of forced, especially going towards Trump becoming president when I was leaving. and started ratcheting it up more as I was leaving, because it was becoming a talking point in like Congress and stuff and in the media, which kind of like, with Trump kind of actually becoming a legitimate candidate, it kind of fell to the wayside besides like ground by the pussy. But yeah, that was a thing that was like, that's a big talking point, is essentially Me Too stuff in the military. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's better today. I don't know though.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really see a lot of that sort of thing. So
yeah. Also, the I'm trying to think, trans stuff started being a thing more and more before I was leaving. I'm all for trans people in the military, but you can definitely see it's like a loophole where it's like, let me get in as a man fit, then let me transition to the easier gender because the standards were different based on biology. So what like to be a man, like the minimum you have to do like 40 plus push-ups, you have to run so fast, etc.
Yep.
And the women, because they have less muscle capacity, is a lot less. So if you transition to a woman, you get easier standards. I think
Black
they've changed.
Angus, are you trying to say that women are you trying to say that women aren't as strong as men?
That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of just so I was actually for the like Trump trans thing, that everyone's outraged about, because they don't really understand that it's like a safety thing for like best troops in combat. It's just like physical standards thing really, and also it's a loophole. So then you get the approval for transitioning, so you're like in the military, pretty much getting free healthcare and not having to do PT, and on easier standards and stuff, so you can last longer with better scores as a male. It's just like the male athletes becoming females in high school and stuff or college. You see like the disparity of their stats compared to all their competition. It's one of those type of things. So totally be trans in the military, or get your stuff, get your surgery or whatever, and then go if you want to fully transition. But yeah, I'm totally for the way Trump did it, which was like, yeah, you're not going to like get a free ride through the military for a term or longer, and just skimp out. That was really the gist that people don't get. It's just the outrage culture, of course. We're all. How long were you in the Navy? What?
5 years.
Where's like one of your favorite places you were stationed?
Oh man, San Diego was pretty cool. And then it was more about the places I visited, but yeah, Australia, Italy. I liked being stationed in Connecticut. That was fun.
Oh, see, I want to go up there. I've never been. I've been in like upstate New York, Fort Drum. I really liked that country, because you think New York, you think of like the city or even Buffalo, but like that's
Right.
the North Country is totally different. But I've never been past there. I've never been to Massachusetts or anywhere. I think that's kind of like probably the most foreign element of America that I want to explore, just because it'd be so different from my home life as a kid and even as an adult now. I think I do better even in like the Northwest compared to the Northeast.
Rhode Island's pretty cool. It was super. It was probably 20 minutes to get there. So
Nice. No. Let me see. Getting back to comicsgate. kind of got detracted with the whole anus and stuff.
You dicked the stream.
Yeah, the stream was dicked. That is an apt assessment. Aside from comic books, what are some of? Do you read a lot, or do you have favorite works of literature that might have affected your writing or your view, your vision?
oh yeah, definitely. I read a lot. I enjoy a lot of the classics. Anything from Dune to Robert E. Howard to Edgar Rice Burroughs, and even farther back, there are a couple of Italian epic poems I really like. Iliad, the Odyssey. Anything that always helped spurn the imagination when I was growing up, I enjoyed that. And there were a lot of things other than just, The Hobbit. So you just had to find them at the time.
Yeah, I'm curious if you've ever seen these. Are like a newer thing. I think they might start in like late '80s. There's an artist, not artist, a author, Brian Jacques.
Yeah.
Oh, so you know Redwall?
I've never read it, but I'm aware of it.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely.
oh my god, yeah, definitely read Redwall. It gets the whole series kind of gets repetitive because anyone doesn't know it's like high fantasy, medieval, but everyone is animals that talk. So generally speaking, all the good creatures, the good natured, morally what have you, they're like the mice, otters, rabbits, hares, moles, stuff like that. And usually the bad guys are rats, foxes, sometimes otters. They might be like pirates, given that they're water creatures. Yeah, and so the first one is like, it's about this, the centerpiece of the whole series is Redwall Abbey. And so it's like, monastic, multicultural, if you will, mice and hedgehogs and whatnot. They're all monks or whatnot living in this community. There's an abbot or abbess sometimes, and they're usually stuck in the middle of some fight. There's usually like a rat or someone leading an army trying to take the castle. So this first one is about this orphan mouse, Matthias, who learns that his, or it might have been, there's like a lineage or what have you, but there's like this acclaimed hero in lore, like Martin the Warrior, who was a warrior mouse, and he ended up, I guess, becoming a monk there, and he left like clues to find his gear or his sword and stuff. So it's really fun, and they've built this whole series. So yeah, and you got like there's like this lonely mountain where the badger, they get like this blood calling when the previous badger dies, and so they're just like instinctually focused to like get to this place and take up the mantle as the leader of Salamandastron. And then they have like a repertoire of hares who are their little army or what have you. And it's just really fun, cool, like, I don't know, middle school type age reading. But I've always wanted it to be a series, like kind of like Legends of Legend. I'm trying to think of the Owl movie, like
Legend
the
of the
Gahul.
Seeker. Oh,
Not the Seeker, the Owl movie, like that type of animation.
right.
The Guardians?
Guardians
or something like that.
Legend of the Guardians.
There we go. Legend of the Guardians, the something of Gahul, yeah.
I don't know the last part.
Yeah, no, it's like, oh, there's so many goddamn words. It's based on a book series too. I've never read it because it was like after I was already out of school. But yeah, I definitely check those out. They're really fun. I remember it was a real feat for me the first time I actually read like Legend of Luke, which is like about the father of Martin the Warrior or something. It's like intertwined with Martin's story. And I was like 11, so it was like my first time reading a big like 300 plus page book, and I passed the test like 4 out of 5 because they had like reading tests after you read a book to keep up with your grade. And I was like in the library, and I was like, I passed, and then like I like tripped on my boot string in the library and just like, be quiet. But it was like such a monumental occasion. It was like, I passed this big book. It took me like 2 weeks to read it, and so that was just funny shit. Thinking back. YouTube channels besides Richard, besides EVS, we assume John talks. Hint, hint. What are some of your other favorite YouTube channels? Perhaps some stuff that people won't know in this community, largely. You there, what?
Hello, please.
Hello?
Do we lose him?
You there, what? Oh, no.
I think he's just dodging the question.
Well, he just really doesn't like any other YouTube channels. So. It's like, I'll plead the fifth on that. I refuse to answer.
Well, no, yeah, no, because like last time I was on my computer with the stream, I like actually got like kicked because my internet connection. So I had to like, even though it said I was connected, I had to restart the connection to like jump back in my stream. So I'm like, oh no, and then no one else said anything for a minute. So I'm like, fuck. Because I don't keep my Hangouts up. I keep the chat up.
Yeah, I've had that happen where like nobody's responding. You're like, what's going on here? And then you're like, oh, I'm the odd man out. Okay.
I would kick him, but I don't know his email. So hopefully he can jump back in with the Hangout link. Because I know people have joined with a Hangout link, and then you kick them, and then they can't join back. So you have to, so avoiding that for the moment.
I think he went.
Maybe he left and maybe he's trying to get back in.
Let me message him really quick for his email. But yeah, John, I'm trying to think. I know you did a live stream about the Collider, the Harlow thing. I haven't seen. Oh, tell us. I didn't get to watch your. I know you did one about the X people.
Yeah, well, that was an interview with I forgot her first name, but her last name is Alonso, and she's like a producer for Marvel Studios.
Victoria. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. You got it. And she was telling this interviewer when he mentioned the fact that they acquired X-Men, what were they planning on doing with it? And she's like, well, we're really not sure at this point, but it's funny that you call it X-Men because there are a lot of women on the team. And she's like, I just feel like it's kind of an outdated title. And she kind of implied that it wasn't going to be called X-Men.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's really going to be up to her, though. Honestly, I mean, do you think they're really not going to call that X-Men?
I mean, I guess they could get away with like New Mutants or something.
Maybe they'll go with X-Force.
Yeah, let's say X-Force.
Yeah,
even that
might
like, even with X-Force, you have the precept of like this is like they're like
it's like Cable's team.
It's like their rogue squadron or something where it's like, yeah, we let these guys go out. They can kind of do like Black Ops kill missions if need be.
Hey, I'm back. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
Hey, yeah, no,
yeah. Sometimes, I wasn't paying attention to my battery.
Wow.
That'll do it.
You know what Wyatt just did? He dicked the stream.
Yeah.
That's the second dicking today of the stream.
Digital dicking by Wyatt. But yeah, we were talking about X people in the meantime while I was waiting for you to respond.
X people?
Yeah, I guess the like one of the executives for that manages Marvel is talking about how X-Men is an outdated thing, implying it's sexist or what have you, despite men like mankind. It's just like we're talking about like the marketing. How would you market it without X-Men, given it's a 50-year-old property?
Man,
woman.
People. That I don't even know what to think about that, man. That's why.
Exactly.
Virtue signal. That's the only reason.
I mean, a handful of people cry about it that probably don't even buy the comics to start with. Why would you listen to them?
Yeah.
Right.
No, actually, I was want to get y'all say, because I don't think I've addressed this with John. And of course, Wyatt, you're new here, so I don't know how much, if at all, you've looked over my channel. This is your second stream, so it's totally fine if you're unaware. But John, I'm pushing for this GoFundMe. It's in the description. I'll just read it verbatim once my YouTube loads.
This Filmgate?
Essentially, that's for lack of a better term, that's what we're in. It's not deemed that. We're not like marketing that as Filmgate, but yes, my Filmgate idea. I'm actually pushing a fund for Josiah and Ricky Critic for us to start being the first attempt, the first wave to start legitimizing the Fandom Menace as a group of, not just commentators, but some creatives, and maybe inspire people to come out of the woodworks in the Fandom Menace that are. I've seen people comment. The reason I push this because I saw people start commenting like the High Counselor EVS was like, we need a film gate. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm talking with Ricky about this, like I've been talking months about this. So it's like, I better do this before someone takes credit for something I've been talking about since December.
Oh yeah, I listened to this video today, or maybe one of them where you were talking about. I was listening to it at work. It was the you were talking about the Collider. speaking
Yeah, no, yeah.
in this video.
Yeah, at the end of that, yeah, I mentioned again my because I'm at Shills and the state of media and stuff, and how it's just another example of why we need to make at least an alternative outside of because it's like comicsgate. They won't bend the knee to the customers. They keep pushing something that doesn't make money, or that it might make money, but we don't want it, and so it's going to dwindle at some point if you keep it up. And same thing with film, but no one's. I learned from Preston, the guy, Pocket Jack Comics. He is a writer and or producer with some Cinestate films, and they're sort of a kind of comicsgate idea of media production. But yeah, no one's just like outright said like, "Hey, Fandom Menace, let's be apolitical. Let's make stuff for the fans." Try to crowdfund, just like what Star Wars Theory tried to do before Lucasfilm said, "You can't do that with our product," And it's like, just think what he could make with the quality he put in with something he couldn't make money on, couldn't crowdfund. Just think if he could have got $1 million to make, "Hey, I'm Star Wars Theory and I just want to make a movie about something."
Right.
And so this is kind of the ideas. Yeah. Did you ever catch up on that actual pitch video, John, or the campaign?
No, I don't think I got the pitch video.
Yeah. So it's essentially verbatim the few paragraphs of the GoFundMe. If you go in the description under support the channel, there's support the campaign. There's a link you can read over that. But yeah, Josiah actually. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say, do you have a description of projects that people are working on?
Not yet. I'm waiting. I got a quick video from Rookie. We're going to kind of do, at least what I'm planning to do is kind of like each of us will kind of cover it ourselves. I'm essentially the producer behind this to fund both of them, but I'm waiting on Josiah's kind of a pitch about himself or what his background to splice it together with Rookie Critic. But we plan to do like multiple trailers, if you will, for this, or multiple little ads. But like, hey, this is the fun. Get on board and let's like be the first wave or first step in this change. So yeah, Josiah actually has a film he did on Amazon Prime called Taker's Crown, which I mentioned in the pitch. I know he has like some Lord of the Rings type ideas in his head, and given the limitations with his funding for his first film, he's trying to animate for the meantime. So he's working behind the scenes finding animators right now. I don't expect the funds, if I can get his fund going all the way to the $5K for both of them split. I don't think that $2,500 will pay for everything, but it'll be a chunk. Maybe get him a little more than what he expected. Rookie Critic, though, it's kind of overpaying him, but this can last a long time for multiple creations. So it's kind of a even split where it's like Rookie can get a lot of stuff out of the 2,500 versus Josiah will probably go towards a project, but I'm holding them accountable with receipts and stuff. So transparency with the fans, knowing that they're not throwing away their money to just a couple jackoffs.
No, I think that's good. I mean, I really do think the way to go about it is, though, like, people want to know what they're investing in.
No, it's great feedback.
I think if you could have a presentation of, like, if Josiah with his next movie, people, I just think people in general like to know exactly what they're getting into. Like, with your gentleman, your guys' comic, it's kind of laid out there, people can see it, and so they kind of have an understanding of what they're buying. And so I think with this, I just think that would help them get the money.
Yeah, no, yeah, but just like film trailers, like think of like Force Awakens, Last Jedi. You have like at least 2 trailers, so you like one kind of gives you a hint, then the next one is like totally different and gives you more hints a different way. That's what I want to do, where it's like we're having different pitches, where it's like Rookie does his stuff on his channel, I do mine, from like as like a collective thing. Josiah does his, and so you can kind of get, and also just to kind of stack it with multiple coverage, multiple videos covering this as well, so you just get more consistent like coverage of it and awareness. But yeah, I was wondering what you think of this, Wyatt, and your feedback as well, your critiques, like John just had, where it's like pitch what they're making exactly to get people on board.
Oh, I think it sounds great, man. Yeah, you it seems to be going this. There's so much overlap with a lot of areas of entertainment right now, where the same thing seems to be happening to all of them, and just like with comicsgate, with oh god, Star Wars. And I think it's a good idea, man. I'm on board.
Awesome. Yeah. Any negative feedback or like, yeah, do this or pitch it this way? Because I don't want to call it Filmgate, even though like I say it just like simply it's Filmgate for lack of a name right now. But that's kind of the gist. It's definitely pulling from comicsgate as like the background and the way they do stuff. I think it transfers quite well, at least to start this movement. But with the whole gate thing, trying to stay away from that naming, just because of negative connotation.
yeah, it's always associated with a scandal usually. Yeah, so yeah.
Speaking of which, going back to comicsgate and stuff, how did you? Were you becoming aware with products kind of going SJW or whatnot, or just really dropping in quality? Were you aware of any of that? Like the Frank Cho stuff was one of the first points we referenced, besides like gender swapping or sex swapping characters. The Frank Cho thing with Wonder Woman, where it's like you're drawing her too sexy, and it's like what?
Right.
That's one of the first things that led to what's become comicsgate, and I was just wondering if you were aware at all of like this is something's odds going on, like when did it hit you?
Well, at first people would send me screenshots, and I thought it was just Photoshop. Some of the dialogue and stuff, I was like, no, nobody would do this. and so then I found out it was real, and I saw what Marvel did to most of their characters that everybody used to like. And I just I started seeing more of it, and then I started noticing it in what seemed to be everything. And with comics, I was like, okay, I don't even understand what these characters are anymore.
Yeah,
and they're not what I grew up with and what I always read. And I don't know how you have a giant poster of anything X-Men and you don't have Wolverine and Charles Xavier on it, because you got to stick Jean Grey and Kitty Pryde up front.
No, me being new to comics, it's like, yeah, you got to go with like Spider-Man, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Hulk. I'd say those are like good bread and butter characters, just iconography.
Right.
Xavier as well, because like everyone, if you see like, oh, this is a comic hero in a wheelchair, it's like, yeah, Professor X. Like,
right. And my big problem came really when I saw the way that the people in the industry were responding to the criticism. And my gosh, I would never talk to anybody who bought something from me that way. So yeah,
no, it's funny because just like thinking of like people get out. I remember I had a interaction on like a Star Wars Facebook group, and I was saying something to this effect that like this is the same as this, and they got so triggered by it. But I really stand by it, thinking about it. I compare comicsgate or Fandom Menace and the potential we have as creators, not just commentary creators, but creators like I'm pushing with the Creators Fund. This is no different on a like perhaps a micro versus macro, but it's no different than the bus boycott as far as like what does it boil down to? It's going to stay ingrained in people's head a lot more and not compare, because the whole racist, systematic racism, all this stuff, the culture of the time at the 50s, Rosa Parks era and all that. But basically, you have a company that is not servicing people; they're discriminating to a class of people. And the people were like, hey, just treat us all the same. You think what you want, if you will. Feel how you will. But take my money and treat me fairly despite that, Because I always say, like, if I own Clorox, being a black guy, if I own Clorox and my number one demographic was like Ku Klux Klan washing their sheets, I'm not going to say fuck white people. It's like I'm going to put my money where I want for like my own agenda, my own thoughts or political activism, but I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me directly in the market, in the media. That's it's idiotic. And it transfers with like comicsgate or feminists, where it's like we're a fan base that says please stop doing this, we don't want it, and they keep saying, well, screw you, we're going to do it, you're bigots, or you're a class we don't care about. And so it's like if you get enough people boycott, and if you have consistent solos, it can have the same effect as like the bus boycotts, even though it's a micro macro thing.
Yeah.
Yep. I totally, yeah. Well said.
I think it's interesting how you can trace a lot of these events back to like one incident that really just blew everything up. Like in Comicsgate, it was the milkshake girls incident. A couple people said, "Oh, look at that! No wonder," and they just came back. And the same with like The Last Jedi. There was some criticism, and then Ryan Johnson comes back with his man baby crap, and it's like those were like the declarations of war. Like if they would have just shut up and said, "Okay, we're getting some criticism, deal with it, move on," it wouldn't be where it's at right now. But that just, was the springboard for everyone to just be like, okay, fuck the fans. We can say whatever we want. And yeah. So now it's war. It's just really interesting to just kind of, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to reading what Stephen Walton has to say. Cause there's a lot of events that took place that most of us probably forgot at this point because it's so old, but it's just, yeah, it's been
Dude, it
an
is
interesting 2 years.
It is fun going through like because I do want to do a follow-up video to St. Germanus, both with Jeremy. I have a topic, even though it's going to be old. Bringing it back to life, I think people are going to get a kick out of it. But I also want to do one for EVS in the same sort of style, although he's not a saint. But it is a religious parody in the same vein. And it's funny because essentially I've just hunkered down. Like, I need to watch all of EVS footage to kind of really get as much material to like meme, essentially. And watching his early stuff, dude was so timid. He was even trying to stay like a DC employee and stuff. And they've, the Twitter weirdos and all the detractors on YouTube have created the shock jock, the perfect troller on YouTube. That is EBS now.
Yeah.
Like, who made this guy?
They created a monster.
Yeah.
He like, if you look at his early videos, like there's one with him and Comics Explain, Rob, where he's like, yeah, I'm really concerned with how comics are going. And it's just, he's clearly a timid, geek drawer,
Yeah. Well, I know he used to record in his basement. He still does, but he used to record and he'd be trying to keep his voice down because people were sleeping upstairs. But yeah, he's really come out of his shell in a big way.
Well, you could say he was but a young tadpole when he started. And now through comicsgate gayness, he has transcended into the blossoming frog that is EVS, that is Caesar. Caesar Victorious.
Yeah. Is this a little preview of the video?
Oh.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say he also introduced me to the Phantom Menace. So, like, sometimes you don't realize you're a part of something till you realize that thing exists.
Yeah.
Okay, so take us through your Star Wars fandom, and then how that ties into Phantom Menace. I feel the same way, and yeah, I'm on board. Like, take us through this little journey of Star Wars fandom.
Well, I assume, like most people, I saw the original ones growing up, and you know how we all feel about those. And man, I didn't hate on the prequels as bad as a lot of people seem to. Episode 1 is it is what it is, but to me, and then we get to what was it, Force Awakens, and I for the life of me couldn't understand why Why do you kill Han Solo without even having him interact with all the other people? You if they had just put everyone together, for it could have even been 5 minutes. I'm sure so many people would have been happy. And then we get to Last Jedi, and I'm like, I'm done. I I don't know, man. I guess I realized that Force Awakens when I saw that what the hell is going on with Rey.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that, honestly. Like, I'm not an OT purist. I got into Star Wars because of prequels, and through age, through learning about film, starting to become critical, and of course YouTube. I was never really a Luke Skywalker fan or cared about him because he's a fucking good boy Jedi. I love the Sith, and
Right.
and so I with what really makes me appreciate Luke and understand him is all the essays on YouTube about the Last Jedi and about Rey. And I actually did a video, kind of pulling back a bit from the hatred and that rabid nature we all, I think, generally are in the Phantom Menace with the Last Jedi, where anything about it we're like, and we can't just sit down and like take it with the saga and think what actually works or could work out or could fulfill in a good way. And so I did maybe Raising a Mary Sue. I mean, she's poorly written for sure. But took 3 movies to explain Anakin's nature. Despite, yes, he had training and stuff, he's still super powered compared to the natural order of Jedi. And they eventually explained it, but it took 3 films. And so that could happen. But, in The Force Awakens, even the questions where it's like, what? They made her win? And okay. But there was a setup. But yeah, I don't know. I never noticed anything bad with Rey as a character besides just the questioning, and that was in their favor to keep us interested at the time. So we're like, who's her lineage? Is she a Skywalker? Is she a Kenobi? Is she a Palpatine? Whatever. Right. And they just totally blew it. They confirmed her as a Mary Sue thus far with The Last Jedi, and just said, nope, we're going full bore with this. And then they forced Holdo, and it's just like a lot of narrative. Just what? Some of these things I talk about repeatedly with people. I'm like, how did we get here with the, like, why did they think this would work? But yeah, I totally understand. I don't know. I didn't catch on per se with some of the, besides the Death Star comparison, I didn't really catch on to like every little beat being just a rehash of episode 4. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. They had such good will going after Force Awakens. It's just crazy that they pissed it away.
Yeah, I think every one of the new characters could have been really good. And I really don't mind Rey that much. I just question a lot of why do things work differently now as to everything we've known before.
Because they don't know the lore. They're not actually Star Wars fans. They're liars and thieves.
You just made me think of this is actually the reason I learned the word usurper is because of Lord of the Rings, watching Treebeard, where he's like destroyers and usurpers, and you've evoked that in my mind, Red Gaze.
Good.
Well, yeah, it's funny that because one of my favorite bands, Mastodon, their middle song of their high concept album, Crack the Sky, it's called The Czar, and there's like the first and last part is like usurper, and I'm like, oh, it's a good thing I watched Lord of the Rings. Now I know what that means. You ever have those moments where like fiction educates you?
I have. Actually, I've
Yes.
mostly been educated by fiction, and like tabletop role-playing games and reading fantasy novels is pretty much where I learned everything. I didn't pay attention to anything in school. But yeah, that's where I learned a lot of stuff. And people used to look at me like I'm straight up retarded, some of the things that would come out of my mouth. And, you'd say things like usurper, and that's not something a 13-year-old usually says. But yeah, I've been very educated by fiction.
Yeah, see, Red Gaze knows what I was talking about D&D earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you rolling dice, you get good at math quickly.
Yeah.
Oh crap! Sorry, I just realized. Not only do we have Kermit the Log, but we have Shellback, aka Hallmark Channel Jeremy. Are you a Shellback? Did you go on enough tours to be a Shellback, Wyatt?
No.
Ooh. So you and Shellback can go at it. The more you build your YouTube channel. It's funny because you have amphibian on reptile violence going on in the chat. Crap. Going back really quick, you're talking about Stephen Walton. I want to get Wyatt and then John talks. How much, if at all, are you aware of Stephen Walton and his Fandom Menace Volume 1 project?
I'm actually not that familiar. I've heard the name.
Okay, yeah, I interviewed him. I think the last episode was of Utter Chaos was his interview. He is an author. He's actually written a few works that have had some success. Sort of a high fantasy Game of Thrones sci-fi perhaps series he's writing. But he's really passionate about writing this, essentially documenting at least the first year or so of the Fandom Menace and key points he wants to address. He did a reading. Which is sad that Lethal Lightning nuked his channel because he actually had a cut from that live stream of just the reading from that introduction, which really surmises the tone of the book. But yeah, it's addressing SJWs and different facets. I'm going to be writing a chapter, which is essentially going to be one of my first videos. I'm going to be retooling the script of that into a video or a chapter about like representation and the disingenuousness, I guess, if that's a word, of SJWs and representation. But no, it's unfortunately don't know it. But yeah, he's a young channel as well. He's been on a few key live streams. Got him kind of Jeff Hicks and Jeremy. He's been kind of Jeremy. So, John, have you seen his channel or interacted with Stephen Walton or aware of his work he's trying to complete?
I know I've interacted with him. I can't remember if it was like in the comment section or on Twitter at some point, but yeah, no, I know who he is. And I think it's great, what he's doing. I think it'll be I mean, I would like to get a copy of it when it comes out. Have you thought about helping him or fund his project?
Yeah, well, he actually has a GoFundMe as well. I was like, dude, you need to like put up a video on your channel just to like, so you're gonna every time you get on live stream, you're gonna get more and more traction compared to any of us. Just besides lucky break videos with like being a small channel still, he's got a steady growth rate because more people get that hear of this. It's like an instant yes. I want to follow this guy and see this product completed. Yeah, he's got a fund for it, but I've told him he's got kind of a plan in mind how to release it. But I've told him, dude, you need to do a comicsgate type of physical media. Like get if you can get kind of like EVS to do a cover, do an Indiegogo for like a physical like second edition or something. Anything to like boost the sales, boost the coverage. So I think he's really articulate as well in conversation. He knows his stuff. He's actually a centrist, you could say liberal. But yeah, he's hardcore Fandom Menace, and I'm really excited to see the product. He's going to have I'm not sure if he has Abu Nas, but I think Stephanie Janicek, Mark with the C, Gospel according to Mark with the C. Sorry, I always mess up his name. I think Jeff Hicks is at least aware. I don't know if he's going to be writing something. Geeks and Gamers is on board. I think Jesse Milestone, among many others. So, and his own chapters and stuff. So yeah, it'd be cool to get a John Talks chapter in there. I'd like to see. He could probably call it the Tears of Soy chapter.
Oh gosh, another thing that don't really want to be known for, but no, I do want to get him on for a live stream.
Yeah,
I definitely would like to. I'm sure he'd be up for it, of course.
You're that confident, are you, John?
I mean, I guess not. I'm sorry, Black Angus. I guess not. I guess he won't be up for it.
I'm so sure he'd be on John Talks.
Nah, the man gets around. I'm sure he'd lay with John for a minute.
Drinker of tears and creator of digital dicking, coiner of phrase.
That's what. Yeah, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that in the book.
Are you sure that's soy in your cup?
Oh man, I'm never gonna let John live this down. The digital dicking. That is your claim to fame, John. I'll make sure the world knows it.
That's just utter nonsense.
You'd say it's utter chaos.
Well, I was referring to utter. I mean, it was a play on words. But
Yeah, I followed you. I just took it all away.
No, I'm just making it a little more awkward now.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting some Michael Scott vibes at the moment with you.
Great show.
John, actually, I'm really curious while we got you with Wyatt, what are some thoughts you're thinking with a young, well, maybe not, I don't know how old you are, Wyatt, but first time, I assume, project with Ardanna. I was wondering what John might be thinking going forward with the series he has planned. Just, I don't know, anything going through your head with this project for Wyatt, and maybe something you're curious about with it that hasn't been addressed, hasn't been said in the chat, what have you.
No, it looks good. I was checking out the website, and I thought you guys did a really good job with the design of it. It's really simple. It's easy to follow, and I think you got enough art here to give people who would be interested in something like this to be interested. So it looks really good. So I'm excited to see. Let's see, it's coming June 24th is when you're going to open the campaign.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how it's going to do. Have you guys talked with EVS or had any contact with them?
No, we haven't talked to them.
Oh, okay. I wish I knew them a little bit better, because I would definitely reach out to them and like put a word in for you guys, but I can't say
No, it was someone in the chat distracted me.
Okay. But no, I think it looks great. The book looks great. I'm really curious, when it came to the coloring, did you now? Okay, so I'm sorry, because I didn't catch your names at the beginning of the stream, so I forgive me.
Sorry, it's Wyatt Holliday.
Okay, and then who's the artist?
Yeah, like I had said earlier, he's right now he's D Flores. He's a little on the fence on how much, how public he wants to be.
Oh, okay.
So, and then the color artist is kind of the same way.
Okay.
For marketing, I would suggest perhaps amending the name from Flores to Flories, like Hangover. Where he's like, why they call them roofies? It should be Flories.
Because he's a retard.
He's gonna be sending me emails. Why you misspell my last name, man? I thought you were a writer and you're messing up your artist name. What's wrong with you?
No, it's looking great, man. I don't have anything to really add. I think you're definitely, you're definitely on the right track.
The good news, I don't know if I had stated this earlier. The book will actually be finished before the campaign even starts. We have about 4 pages of sequential art left to do. Probably the first half is colored, and Eric Weathers already has some of the pages working on the lettering. So the idea is campaign's going to run, it's going to end, and it's going to print, and then everyone's getting their books. So
how much of this was just yourself thinking, I'm not going to push a campaign before it's done, and how much of it was perhaps your awareness of stuff like Brand or even Caesar being about 6 months late on his initial goal time to push Cyberfrog, and others have been slow here and there. Was it awareness of that, or just your own common sense? Like, I'm not going to sell something that's not done yet.
I didn't want to offer anyone a product that they had to question if they were going to receive it or not, being a new guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, if it's done and they know they're going to get it, we just need to know how many to print.
Yeah.
And
No, yeah, I like that. I remember seeing that in your pre-launch video or page for the Indiegogo. It's like, it's already done. When we launch, it's just going to be how many to print. And I'm like, oh, this guy, he's already taking care of the SJWs, their detraction.
yeah, no, yeah, they don't tell me it's not coming out. Yeah, all my people have already been paid. So, yeah, I backed, you know, I financed it myself to get it made, and hopefully,
I was gonna ask, how long did it take you to, like, I don't know how much, like, I don't want you to have to like disclose numbers or something if you don't want to, but I'm just wondering, like, was this something you had in your head and you started working with people, and then like you're like pocketing $100 or so or whatever for however long, or was it, yeah, like whatever you want to disclose? Because you never know if someone comes across the stream and they're like, oh, that Wyatt guy, I like his thing, and this is an introductory type of stream to know you.
right.
It's good. You know, any info you disclose can help future comic skaters going forward.
I'm sorry, what are you asking specifically?
Like how long?
He wants to know how much it costs. No, I'm kidding. Don't
Well, yeah, I'm interested. Yeah, I am. If you're willing to disclose that, how much you've put in this, or like at least how long it took you to fund the creation of it.
We've been working on it probably 3 months. And I just paid everyone, you know, I paid in 4-page increments. And altogether we're going to have a funding goal of $3,500.
Okay. Oh, that's
Not bad.
that's not a bad goal, because you know, I don't know how it affects the actual algorithm per se on Indiegogo, but it seems, from what I understand, like, of course with marketing success as well, but like the who you know stuff, but the lower your fund is, therefore the easier it is to hit that goal. And so the higher the percentage gets of like 1,000% funded, then that might like boost you, because it looks like, you know, inflated essentially. But no, I actually appreciate that. It's kind of admirable, because Vinny Tartamella, he had he had bad info and bad examples. So he set his goal for his campaign at like 20 grand, and he made like 3 or 4 on his first one with Through the Woods, which was a pretty good introductory campaign, I would say. But he's an established artist, and not just comics, but other avenues of art and storyboarding and stuff. And you know, it's definitely disappointing with his background and his tenure. But he's like, yeah, I really think that screwed me. So now his campaign is like 1,000, which he's already hit, and so that will probably boost him the more it's seen. But no, I really appreciate that you're coming in and you got a bigger number than some people are willing to go. If that algorithm's at play because of whatever your goal is, and if it's hit early, you know, you might change in the future. But I think it's very admirable, just integrity wise, that you have a reasonable number instead of trying to shortcut it, if that's the way it works.
Right. No, you know, I just want to make just want everybody to be able to read the story, man.
Watch him tomorrow. The 24th, when he launches, it's like the goal is $5. That piece of shit. Like,
I think Indiegogo has a minimum of 1,000.
Hey, 3,500 is not ridiculous.
No, not at all. And I think since the book's finished, that's really gonna. I mean, I think a lot of people are going to be more willing to buy, because they know it's like, oh, it's already done. Cool. You know, I'll be getting it a lot sooner than, you know, I guess with some campaigns, you never know.
Right. Yeah. You can pretty much count on 6 to 8 weeks probably, as far as the printing time and getting everything so that you can start delivering. But aside from that, we're not we're not going to have any slowdowns. So
Do you have like a good contract set up with your printer?
I do.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so getting more in depth, getting more to know you and your awareness of comicsgate and your opinions, how you see stuff. We talked about Mike Miller to start this off, and how I feel for sure. And Red Gaze added to that. You seem kind of out of the know with that, which is totally fine. But Doug Tenaple, I asked you if this was off limits just because it could be potentially a hot topic or whatever. But you seem cool with it. What are your thoughts about Doug Tenaple and how he's dealt with customer service?
Well, like I think he should have someone to run his customer service. But no, I really don't know Doug. I like him. I like him fine. Seems like a good guy. I know there were some hang-ups and some people got burned. And I don't know, man. That's a hard situation. I think you have to listen to the customer though, and you need to, if you expect them to buy a product, then you need to do everything you can to make sure that, that they get that. And, if I go, we're going to do international as well. And if I have to drive a copy to people's houses to make sure they get it, I will. And I don't know. I just, I know a lot of people are upset, and I don't really know what the proper resolution to that would be other than do everything you can to make sure, people get what they paid for.
Yeah, no, I remember I saw the initial tweet or something, and I was kind of like, I don't get why people were upset at first, where there was like the apology letter, and he's like, oh, I got about 100 people, whatever. I didn't think nothing of it at the time when I read it. It seemed like, wow, fucking DC or Marvel isn't going to do that for you, even if it's like, a premiere Kickstarter type thing. Plus, he's like, yeah, I'm offering you your refund minus like $5 shipping fee or whatever, or I assume that's really a handling fee. But that and a digital copy of the art book. But then it's like, wait, the Indiegogo set up where it's like exactly how many you need to print, and of course it's usually excess that you're going to print with like your minimums with a printer. So clearly he put in an order before it was finished with his Indiegogo campaign because he got that huge boost that last night with EVS.
Right.
I was part of that boost because I was like, I don't care for Earthworm Jim art. Someday I might look into the show. I know I liked the show as a kid, but it's not something I'm really interested in his artwork. It's not my style. But then when he said he dedicated the book to EVS and Caesar cried, I was like, oh shit, I got to buy this book now. And great purchase. I was really surprised at first sight because I opened it and it was backwards the way it was like in the box. I'm like, what the fuck is this? My kid orders some like fairy tale book, and then I flip it. I'm like, oh, Bigfoot Bill, and not my art style, but man, like the depth he has, the like physical awareness and just the way he did it, enough detail with enough fantasy cartoon art style. It's a really unique style he's got, and I appreciate it, and it flowed very well. Did a really good I wouldn't say good like presentation. I'm not a comic reviewer, but I gave him a good review of it with only really one complaint, and totally got me on board, actually anticipating his future follow-up, and just the way, not only the way it's like clearly he cut the deal before the Indiegogo's done, but also the way he's just like deflecting people, blocking people, and following people who are critical and stuff. Even though like I tweeted at him and said something like, "Hey, like this is how you should do customer service. You're going to be comicsgate," and he liked it. So I'm like, okay, he likes this idea, this kind of war campaign, hyper aggro customer service ideal. But then he's like deflecting and just like, oh, whatever. I'm trying to run a business. Can't have these weirdos bogging me down. And it's like, what? We're just hyper customer service oriented. That's like the whole drive of this.
Right. That's why we're all here in the first place. That's how we got to this point.
No one would have fucking funded Doug Tenaple if he didn't have the comicsgate label. Like clearly he was associated and hanging out with comicsgate because he had no clout to stay even in like the mainstream indie circuit, if you will, or whatever Earthworm Jim and his creations fit in. clearly he was outcast. So, clearly he's a tapeworm Doug, as some of us consider him. And it's unfortunate because I really was sold on. It's unlike, like Doug handles his conservative Christian hard right stance with like LBGT and stuff. He handles it on Twitter where he's clear about how he feels. He doesn't support it, but I don't feel attacked or like friends would be attacked or that it's like a hateful sentiment in any way, or like, hey, let's go own the gays, or something, as opposed to Mike. That's the tone I get from it. And so yeah, like even with his stance, I feel respected. And so it's saddening because I want to support his art. His art, it's really good what he's given us. But yeah, it's his actions have drawn a line and saying I can't fund him.
Well, I mean, to be fair, in that situation, I think both sides got pretty out of line pretty quickly. And I mean, yeah, I'm all about customer service, obviously, but yeah, I think he just did make a bad decision. And I think what War Campaign was really upset about was the fact that he sent art books to newer backers in the States in lieu of sending them overseas because the shipping was cheaper. So I think that's what they were really mad about. And he did.
You can really save on shipping if you just don't make it, Like,
right.
It's like, wow, I saved a fortune.
I mean, he did offer some concessions. I think he threw, some refunds.
But
they're just pissed off, and once they're pissed off, like they're done.
No. Okay, so this is the other thing I'm remembering. It's not just like, he cut a deal with the yearbook company early. Before he realized, oh fuck, I need more, so he's short. But he didn't delineate this till after the shipping went out and stuff.
Yeah.
So he had that, but also he, because like the day the stuff ended, he's shipped to most people. Like right after I read it and stuff, he did a stream where it's like it's celebrating. He had like, I don't know, whatever the normal margin of misshipments. He was in that range or something. So he's celebrating. He's talking about like going in detail. Like, yeah, I try to do everything American, besides I think like the cards or like the bookmark or whatever, or maybe it's the patch. One of the little extras was outsourced to China, just because that company outsourced it. But he tried to keep everything in America, even though it cost him more from his profits. He, of course, did the hard binding instead of just, a soft paperback, trade paperback product, which is a huge surprise. I didn't know that was going to be a thing. That was an actual surprise for everyone. Everyone was like, this was, wow, look at this, So
his art book was hardbound too.
He put profit into the presentation, the delivery. He set the standard for like a top tier product in this movement. And so that's the thing. He did that, and then apparently he was going to I don't know if he did, but he was going to make up the difference on someone's campaign that was failing at the end on Indiegogo, but he couldn't put the effort to actually fulfill and do a small reprint of to fulfill the 106. That's the thing I forget to mention with the context of no, there's a reason people hate Doug, that he's got the hate on him now with comicsgate.
Yeah.
Along with purposely I can't legally associate with comicsgate with my Earthworm Jim contract. It's like, oh, but you could take $200,000 from us.
Yeah, that whole thing. I don't know. I think that was just a convenient excuse for him to bow out. I don't know. Yeah, that rubbed me the wrong way because right, exactly. Maybe he didn't need comicsgate, but he sure as hell wouldn't have gotten as far as he did without them.
Yeah, John, what are your thoughts? How much do you follow or know about this?
I mean, I've seen Doug a little bit on EVS's streams. I remember when he was doing, he was presenting the book, and it was probably right before the end of the campaign. But other than that, no, this is all kind of news to me. So I didn't really know that people hadn't gotten their books.
Yeah, it seems it was 106 foreign buyers, non-continental US. I'm not sure if that's actually the case. I think there's been some in the US, perhaps in that 106. But yeah, it's I think he revealed I had to cut a deal with the yearbook printer before they would go into yearbook season, so I had to get it in front of that, which is fine. but it's like, oh, so you set an order that wasn't completed with your Indiegogo numbers, so you're already shortchange yourself. And of course, there's like margin of error for shipping again to someone who didn't get their fulfillment. And of course, he had it like already planned out where it's like, if like USPS doesn't fulfill the shipment, then I'm going to go through a different party to make sure it's not like someone stealing the shit that's aware, you know. So he had all these contingencies. So that's there's a whole body of work why it's like he has purposely set himself up to like not get as much from comicsgate.
Is there a way to only do domestic?
Yeah.
When it comes into
campaigns? Okay. Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah,
like,
you could. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it seems like once you're going overseas, I don't know. It just seems like such a pain in the ass. Like it could be. I mean, in terms of shipping, and I'm not saying that people shouldn't do it, but I'm just thinking, you know, the type of complications like Doug ran into, where he's got over 100 copies that aren't reaching their destinations. So I don't know. I mean, you want to make sure that people get their books, and especially if it's an overseas issue, like it's a lot harder to manage than if it's just domestic.
Yeah.
Any more comments on the Doug situation?
No, and that was just me thinking out loud. This wasn't
no, that's totally fine.
Any advice or any? I'm just thinking ahead, But
well, I think you'd be surprised how many people in the comicsgate movement are from overseas.
No, that's true though. Yeah, it's a big community. Yeah.
And I hate to do it, guys, but I just looked at the time and I should really bow out because I got an early morning.
We'll go off to Betty bye.
I will. Well, Wyatt and John, it was a pleasure meeting you both. Angus, thank you again. Appreciate it.
Dream of
likewise.
Dream
Have
of
a great night.
Black anus.
I'll dream of sweet.
Really,
teeth.
really, Black Angus? Did you have to do that? Is it you're signing up that way?
He had to. I would expect nothing less.
Me and Ray Gates already have a good rapport, so
Even so,
not that good of a report. Don't get it twisted. All right, gentlemen, thank you again.
Have a great night. It's great meeting you.
The other thing I was interested in, Wyatt, is the Renfamous Kickstarter. How much do you know about that? Did you follow it at all? What were your thoughts about just the setup?
Well, I backed it, man. No,
Well, no, Pussy Centipede said he backed it just because of curiosity, I guess.
Yeah, really, I don't know. I've only actually had one encounter with her ever, and she was nice to me. So I was nice back.
Oh, so she had some good customer rapport potentially. That's interesting.
Yeah. Like I said, I only met her once, and she was nice to me. But I still see what goes on.
Yeah.
So, but I think, I don't know. I think they've got like 40 something people working on that book.
Dang.
Yeah, it's like I think 43 writers and artists, and it's an anthology, so it's like I'm wondering if it's going to be small. Like, have either of you seen any reviews or inside footage of the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez comic?
Yeah,
have you seen it?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. Go on.
No, I just haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'll pull him up really quick. A guy I found who's a EVS fan, found him in the chat. Jersey Devil actually did a review, so I'll send you all the link so you can watch it later and just see the hilariosity. Because it's like I'm wondering if it's going to be the same format where it's like different people writing like just like one page, like 4 to 8 panel story on like 1 or 2 pages. Type of comic, and this is like just full of little shit. There's like one main story at the start, but it's like what and Jersey Devil actually points out some funny shit. And it's like, wait, what the hell is she doing? And it's like the first story is about like she's gonna fight the patriarchy and Trump by like shaving his hair because like his hair is the cause of his like racism and everything. Like what?
I saw the page with Bernie in a wrestling ring taking down Big Oil, and I was just like, I can't.
Wow.
There's one that's like one page where it's like a parody page of like Pac-Man, and it's like I don't know if it's like the ghosts or like Republicans or something, or what the treasure is. I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember, but it's just a lot of stupid shit. A lot of like 1 or 2 page things that like that's it. And tying that to Renfamous and her thing, uh, I think they only made like less than 50 grand to cut across 40 plus people and taxes, and the company and the Kickstarter cut. So they each made like a couple $100 maybe off of this, which is, I don't know if that's worth it to tie your name to something and push it and you get that reward. What's funny though is when I was, because I heard about, Rufus is tied to this thing with mags, whatever. I looked into the Kickstarter campaign, and I liked the music. It had a pretty good pitch, but the sell of this, because it's from a company who's done like Kickstarters before. They're like, yeah, I'm this, and I've helped do this with my stuff, and this editor is on board, and he's done great work on this comic, which all the profits went to supporting Planned Parenthood, and it's like, wow, that's like really aggro. Like, not only do you have like Baphomet or like the satanic pentagram in the imagery of like this record shop, which is fine because there's a lot of that shit in metal.
Yeah, metal. Yeah.
Yeah, totally fine. That's the whole concept. Is like it's weird stories tied to this record shop. Fine, but you like have that as like the first panel you show. All right, so that's kind of a key when you got all these SJWs. Then you got this guy pitching it, like one of the leaders, if not the leader of this company, saying like, yeah, we back us, man. We've helped all the profits this last book went to Planned Parenthood. It's like, that's really a way to sell your book to a lot of people, like, I mean, the country isn't clearly split on that issue, it's just like, wow, it's like, you got a problem with comicsgate. The products of comicsgate are supposed to be apolitical fantasy or epics or whatever, and then you just come out of the gate with that. It's like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah. It was always my understanding that as a writer that with entertainment, the entire purpose is to, get people away from the normal shit they have to think about in real life. And, and I don't want to remind them of the stuff that makes them sad, makes them, anything going on in the real world. I don't know. It seems like escapism has been lost in a lot of places, and it has to be too tied in with real world events.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Speaking of that, have y'all seen? I haven't looked in depth, but I watched Richard Meyer's coverage. I assume you have, Wyatt, of his coverage of Black and White by Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
Have you, John?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so I'm just going to tell you this concept, and let me see if you can see the problem with this. All right. So essentially, Black people have superpowers. Like, it's only Black people in the world through history that can get superpowers, and so this whole thing is like, like white people are racist because Black people have superpowers, or like it's essentially an X-Men story set up, but it's like your superficial trait is indicative if you are a potential violent sleeper cell of society, and somehow this is going to help fight racism or address it. And it's like, you think of X-Men, the whole concept is people are afraid of mutants because you don't know who's next to you that might be a mutant and what they do and what can set them off to just kill people and stuff. So there's a legitimate fear, but there's no indication of like who is a mutant. Anyone could be. It's across race and ethnicity and stuff and gender. With this concept, it's like only Black people have superpowers, so like there's a legitimate reason to fear Black people now. But somehow this is fighting racism or talking about it, like, oh, these crazy white people. It's like the idea is like, how would white people respond in this type of world or something? And it's just like so delusional, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not the best concept.
Yeah,
Because
it
obviously, I
sounds.
mean,
Go ahead. I'm sorry, John.
no, my bad.
Yeah, I was just going to agree with you.
Well, it's like if they're the only ones that could have superpowers, obviously, you know, some can be used for good, some can be used for bad, and you just yeah, yeah. That's all I got. Uh,
No, I'm gonna try to pull this up and read the actual pitch or whatever from the Kickstarter, just to make sure I didn't miss anything key. But just hearing this, seeing the coverage, I'm like, what? Like, oh, come on. Yeah, it's the pitch on the Kickstarter says, in a world that already fears and hates them, what if only black people had superpowers? And the cover is says black, and it's like two cops, you assume, with their pistols, and a black guy in a hoodie with his hands up. So definitely not trying to channel any Trayvon Martin imagery. Yeah, and okay, here's the fuller pitch. Says, after miraculously surviving being gunned down by police, a young man learns that he's part of the biggest lie in history. Now he must decide whether it's safer to keep it a secret or if the truth will set him free. See if there's any more. No, that's it. Yeah, people. And there's just like this little Indiegogo thing, or Indigo says, people fear the dark because that is where the truth lies. Yeah, it's just a lot of race baiting.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, it's like it's only adding to the potential divides of race and stuff.
It's just crazy that like how far we've fallen back on some things since the 90s. Like, are you familiar with the DC imprint Milestone from the 90s?
No.
You should definitely check it out, man. It had tons and tons of black characters, and a lot of the creators were minorities, and it was so good. And do you know who Dwayne McDuffie is? Or was? He passed on a while back.
No, I'm not aware.
Yeah, he was actually the first creator to ever give me feedback on writing. I still had the letters. So no, it's just I was explaining to someone, they were telling me that they were afraid that their book might come off as having some sort of like SJW elements to it. And I told him, man, the way to really do that, and just don't beat people over the head with it. If you have a woman that happens to be in World War II in your world, don't remind everybody every 5 minutes that it's a woman. You don't have to tell them that.
Wait, are you friends with Pocket Jack Comics?
I'm not.
Oh.
I've never talked to him.
Oh, but you've seen his coverage or his pitch?
No, actually.
Oh, no, it's just funny the way you said that, because it's like, oh, yeah, he's got a series called White Lily about an actual Jewish Russian pilot.
Oh, yes, I do know about that, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's like, dude, like there's another project like that? It's very specific, so I'm like,
what?
Oh,
no, I was just using an example.
Okay.
Yeah, no. But it's just, I don't know. It's like Ardanna. Yeah, it's female protagonist in the book, and I don't have to make everyone else a bumbling fool just to make her look good. And you don't have to do it that way. And so there's more to her than, hey, I'm female.
I've never completed the actual like any real concept, but I kind of want to do like a John Carter type of like fantasy where it's like a Mars and Venus type of conflict where Venus is like led by like blue hair weirdos and and the men Mars planet is like patriarchy and stuff, and they've become a bit soy, if you will, in the imagery and stuff. And it's just like, they're going to reclaim their masculinity and go to war and just be very toxic. Indeed, I need to develop this further because I know I was gonna make a play. You know how like Greek and Latin always have the us at the end of a lot of words. I was gonna do something like that with like either the character or the planet to like the name would be based off of patriarchy, stuff like that. Just be very obvious with it. And I was just kind of going like off of Ari and stuff like the subverting expectations angle of modern cinema as of late. You should totally just build this up and like fool people, make them think it's is like Xena or something like this is like the badass chick. This is the next Ripley or Sarah Connor or whatever, and then like it ends and she's like, she's like Snow White or Cinderella. She her whole goal is just to find a suitor, have his babies, and cook in the kitchen.
Talk about subverting expectations.
And that's just her cosplay in the bedroom.
Oh, that'd be so great! It's all in her mind. It's just like the writer of like 50 Shades or something. Shellback, addressing you really quick. Yes, there is. My computer's going slow. Yes, there is a Ocasio-Cortez comic. It's really retarded. It's like the subtitle is like "New Party, Who Dis?" And it's like what? And so it's like it's even her fighting. I think even like the imagery is even her taking on Democrats because like she's a socialist. And they actually got a cease and desist from DC because one of the variants was essentially Wonder Woman, but with her head on it. And it wasn't a bad like art wise, but it's very obvious. It wasn't just like, this is to evoke the imagery of Wonder Woman. Like, no, this is Wonder Woman with her face. So you got the cease and desist. So it went from like an $80, I think, at the time, variant cover on eBay to like 16 grand last I heard.
Dang.
Wow.
Because I think I've heard rumors that apparently it's not just a cease and desist, but something like, hey, Devils Do Comics, you have to seek these items out and dispose of them, get them out of the market in any regard. So yeah, it's pretty funny. It's funny too because there's a character, I haven't really cracked the book, but I just imagery wise, I love Devil Girls, so I like Purgatory, and I found Mercy Sparks, a newer one, and I haven't read much of the story just because I don't have time, but I have like the volume of her, and it's funny that someone I'm anticipating being a fun character is from the same company. It's like now I'm not excited as I was. John, any comics or have you purchased any comicsgate stuff? Are you following like Cyber Frogs, like the first chapter being released, or anything, or just any interesting comics or stories you've seen as of late outside of comicsgate?
Well, I did. Yeah, I ordered Uncle E's Cyber Frog. My only concern though is that I can't remember if I was having it shipped to my apartment or my parents' address, because sometimes I'll have mail sent there.
I was just thinking, John, this would be a great like nerd, like Flip's Ronaldo videos.
Yeah,
you should do something like this where it's like the whole person is like, oh crap, I don't know my address, which one I had it sent to, and oh no, I can't have my mom find my Cyber Frog, or you could, or if not that, you could be like, oh god, I hope I had it sent to my mom's house because mom takes care of me, but I can't have my girlfriend see my my nerd memorabilia or something like that. It'd be like the whole thing, and you're just like fretting at like the retarded glasses, like the tape in the center, and like the pocket protector, and you button the top button, and it's gonna be great.
It's like I need subtitles because of like how I'm talking. It's like so nasally. But the reason why I had sent there, because I wasn't like, if I did have it sent there, it was because I didn't know if I was gonna be. I knew I was gonna be staying at that apartment forever, so I'm really hoping that I had it shipped there, because somebody's going to be getting a copy of Cyber Frog, and it ain't me. So,
or another alternative you can do is like you can set it up as your mom is like Bobby Boucher or like Carrie's mom, and so it's like comics are the devil, And so it's like the race to get to the mailbox every day and stuff, and like, oh no, my mom found my comics.
Yeah. Anyways,
How am I gonna get my Cyber Frog back?
Oh yeah.
no, I'm calling I'm calling Ethan Van Sciver. I'm trying to get a hold of him. Like, he's just totally dodging my calls. He's like, "Who's this SJW weirdo?"
Because that's easier than dealing with your mom to try to get the book back.
Pretty much.
Otherwise, you have to run some Ant-Man type of operation.
You're like a 35-year-old man baby trying to like get your comic back.
After that, you just need a mail slot in the basement. Put it through the floor.
Yeah.
Or oh man, there's a channel I should key you in on. I think it's Michael Beacon. This is like channel name, but he has this thing he does where it's like SJW Skeletor reviews comics.
I've seen that.
And he's like, he'll just like find the dumbest shit to critique because it's like on purpose making fun of him. And it's like, oh, here's another heroic white male, toxic, you could even do that where like you maybe you're playing SJW, and then it's like you're gonna pwn EVS with your review, so you're just like nitpicking the dumbest shit,
Yeah.
Wrong. No, on a serious note, because we're just gonna segue into something more serious nature. No, I went to the comic book store, I'd say about a month ago, and I was just looking through, all the different comics because I was actually interested in buying. And I was there like for a half hour just going through and skimming through books, and nothing was really like interesting me. Like it just was all, I'm like, I don't know. I just remember back in the mid 90s when I was, like a teenager collecting comics, and maybe it's just a nostalgia of it. But to me back then, they knew how to. Just comics were in my opinion, just comics were better. You would at least see something on the newsstand or on the shelf, and you'd actually want to buy something. So
I think what it was, John, was you're a younger man hiding your comics from your mom. So there's that thrill.
No.
And then John Talks never came on Black Angus' stream again. He wonders why I don't reply back to his DMs.
Assume you're busy, or you're
no,
putting the libs in your comments.
No,
that's pretty much it for real though.
No, I think most comicsgate people are fans from the 90s, or at least like the books from the 90s, because that's when I was a teenager too. And they were just better than they are now. And I don't know, it was more about having fun and telling good stories than anything else.
Yeah.
And sometimes the art would be killer and the story not so great, and that's okay.
Yeah, at least you got good art though.
Right.
Like when I was looking through the books, it's just like nothing jumped out at me in terms of the art.
Yeah, the cover will be really awesome, and the interior is just like, oh.
God, I'm very superficial with comics. So unless there's like a name attached that I'm already aware of, it's the art that draws me, and it's usually cover art. So I really hate seeing like art germ art, because the dude draws he has such a great toxic male gaze for all his cover art, and then you get the comic, and it's like, what the, like, God, he could really fool you with like a Squirrel Girl cover if he did that, and then you open it and it looks like Hills Have Eyes drew it, and, yeah, so like I showed John, I showed you that Sweet Tooth comic. That's not my art style, but it fits the world, but it was all because of the name attached, where I'm like, I'll give this a chance, it looked interesting, the concept. But yeah, it's all about the art for me. And so there's actually I don't know if it truly is, but there's I'll just generalize, an SJW comic that I'm about halfway through the series. I don't know if they're going to keep it going afterwards, but It's called Unnatural, and I actually got the poster here. Let me see if it says anything. No, it doesn't give a summary, but essentially it's an anthropomorphic world, and it's like a gay marriage allegory because the artist and writer is from Italy. I don't know if she's gay, but clearly she's advocating for gay rights. And Italy is, because it's Catholics, even though people might be socially like cool, they're still just like the religious nature keeping gay marriage illegal, I assume, or only like allowing companionship, like legal companionship or whatever. And the premise is like each species, mates with its hetero kind, so there's no interspecial or homosexual interspecial relationships. It's all forbidden. They even have very obvious, like hard right, like religious theme cartoons in this universe where it's like indoctrinating society, government programming. It's like, oh yeah, you don't put boys and boys together in this scenario. You don't put different species together, which is a race allegory. And what's interesting is like this world has a rule where like once you hit 25 and you're not married and procreating, they put you on this program to get you suited with someone. And every year you're not, they like heavily tax you. And so you're incentivized multiple ways to fit the bill with society. But she's like always having these essentially wet dreams at night about a sexy wolf man, and it's forbidden. And even with all the SJW allegory and stuff in there, it's interesting, and the art's hot. And I don't know, I'm waiting to see how it finishes. So I'm open to stuff outside of my realm if you have a good, like the whole thing that drew me was the art, which was funny too, because I don't know if you know Tarot, the Witch of the Black Rose. Either y'all know that one?
No, I do.
Oh yeah, you can look up the art. It's it's not, there might be variants of like nude art, but overall it's just very sexy witch character and her adventures with like other witches and occult shit. This comic shop in Columbus, they're like, yeah, we don't carry that because those kids shop here. But then they have this thing, and the whole theme of the story is gay sex and shit, and like very obvious, scantily clad pig woman that makes would make Miss Piggy blush because I could go for some pork ribs if you or some pork roast if you understand my meaning. But no, yeah, it's like you can draw people even with like an obvious political SJW allegory. If like X-Men has a lot of that. I was reading from the 90s, and there's some obvious like referencing bigotry and this and that, like buzzwords of today. But it doesn't quite steer you because you can see at least elements of reasonability even from the quote-unquote bigots of the universe of X-Men. There's very rare a clear-cut villain that's just like so over the top you wouldn't agree at all, or you wouldn't have any point. So I don't know. It's but yeah, art's really the draw for me, and it's disappointing a lot of times.
Yeah, I think it's you can get by, like, even if the writing sucks, like Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man, even when he was writing it, it wasn't the best, but his art was so cool that you just didn't care. I mean, David Michelini, when he was working with on Amazing with Todd, it was really good. But yeah, Todd McFarlane, like, he's not a great writer, but his art was always captivating enough to just make you want the book. So
yeah, his clearly I wasn't around in the heyday when he was doing Spider-Man, but I see that his art, and I've seen it like him copying his covers for Spawn, the poses and stuff. He's got like a good eye and stuff. And that's it's like a good drawing. Like a lot of the art is like, how did this pass? Yeah, some of these people have jobs with like the quality of art. Like Sweet Tooth, again, not my style, but it's a style and it fits the tone of this world. It's dingy and just like feels kind of decrepit and not quite kept. And so I see, Squirrel Girl, and it's like a Marvel comic. Like, what the hell? or like the Miss Marvel, just the concept of like, yeah, she gets like big and fat hands. It's like, what? Like,
Right.
so she's like a crappy chick, Mr. Fantastic, with like no imagination.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking with some of the books they put out. It's exactly why comics are where they're at right now.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get to. I almost forgot the Vertigo thing, but address the chat really quick. Had a few people. Had
Ooh.
Mandy Summers come back. Oh, she was here the whole time apparently, but she's back in the chat. We got Peter Griffin. It's been a while since I've seen you in the chat, but he says better art: Iron Maiden versus Slayer covers. I would say Iron Maiden because I don't know anything of Slayer's art besides just their inverted pentagram. What are your
Iron Maiden.
thoughts?
Iron Maiden for sure.
The little I've seen Iron Maiden.
Yeah, Eddie. It's Eddie, right? The creature.
Yeah, Eddie. Yeah.
Yeah, like he stands out. Like I'm an AC/DC fan, but I would maybe because of my bias, I would just instantly like boom AC/DC. But like overall, like even with my fandom, it's like yeah, Maiden sticks out a lot more. Let me see. Peter Griffin also says, "Wow, Catholicism is still around. Fascinating nostalgia." And then Darth Yake says, "So getting them to bake my gay donkey a cake is out of the question, huh?" Talking about the comic I was discussing. Oh, that comic, if you're interested, it's from Image. Don't know if comics want to support Image, but it's called Unnatural by Mirka Andolfo. And if you like the cover art, that is consistent through the whole book because she is the artist for her own work. So besides that, like a few, I think, panels here and there, it's like all her artwork. So that's also the sell for me. It's like consistent artwork that I'm not being fooled. Yeah, Peter Griffin. Spawn, as far as I know, is going to come out next year, 2021, with Jamie Foxx. Todd McFarlane directing, producing. I think last I heard it was a $10 million budget. So,
10 million? That's it?
Yeah, but really quick, John, have you seen Brightburn yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay, go see it and know this: $7 million budget. So,
wow.
Yeah, I really think some of the complaints people have, they're not aware of the budget. If they're aware, I think they would check those complaints to a large degree because CGI in that movie, I think, was spot on. And it's like, wow, they did it for $7 million. Like, holy crap! Like, did people work for free or something? Because
guess the original budget on for the original Spawn, 1997.
25 million.
40 mil.
Oh wow, okay. Well, because it's a very high effects film that is pushing trying to push the boundaries at the minimum back then. So, yeah. Did you saw that Collider interview, right? Or at least that snippet from Michael J. White?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people saw the Dark Knight stuff about Ledger and stuff, and like, yeah, he didn't go crazy. It was just an accident, with his pills and drinking. But he's talking about like Spawn, where it's like the original cuts he was seeing. It's like, man, it's gonna be awesome. And then like the executive over the director was like, yeah, do what you want. And the guy was like an effects director, and as far as you know, he hasn't done anything memorable to say the least because of that experience. And of course, Spawn has just been sitting on the shelf for years. Yeah, I want to say I heard it was $10 million for Spawn. If so, seeing Brightburn and knowing that McFarlane wants to make Spawn a background character and focus on Sam and Twitch, the cop characters, I think it could. Of course, I want it to be just Spawn and his adventures and fighting and stuff, like channel like the cartoon movies and the animated series. But seeing that movie, I'm just curious because I really think Spawn, they're gonna digitize or whatever, which is fine. And so thinking all the work they put into like Venom, both Venom movie and Spider-Man 3, I don't see them making something good with Spawn with $10 million if that is the case.
Yeah, I'm reading it here, 10 to 12 million. So yeah, that's cheap. Like the studio, if I was a studio, I'd risk that. If you got Jamie Foxx coming on, like that's a no-brainer. Like you're bound to make money. Like the movie should at the very least make
its money
100 million. Yeah, it's gonna easily make its money back.
especially Jamie Foxx. He's an Oscar winner. He's got Django under his belt recently and Baby Driver. So he's got
Yeah.
he's got good
Yep.
rapport overall the last decade and a half. How do you feel about this? Why I was going to call you Steven because my notepad.
I just think as long as they don't say, "Hey, the Violator, $1 million remaining," then in the budget, then they'll probably be okay. But no, I like Salmon Twitch. It's an interesting way to do it. And Jamie Foxx, of course, he'll bring the eyes.
Yeah, I think he can pull it off. It makes. I think it would work if he just brought Michael Jai White back to reprise the role, but it's just a different iteration. But yeah, Jamie Foxx, I think he can pull it off. He's definitely had physical roles before. He's got a fit body. He's got a range acting. I would really like to see, though. Honestly, a lot of people wanted Denzel for Green Lantern for Jon Stewart. I actually, after seeing him in Flight, I would love to see him as Spawn because all the action, for the most part, you assume would just be CGI, so you could pull it off with him as long as you got him. Like he's done Equalizer 1 and 2. He's somewhat fit despite his age, so I actually would like to see him.
Yeah, I think this movie's going to make a lot of money. I mean, compared to its budget, it's going to be. I can't see it not being a very profitable movie.
Yeah,
they'll probably spend most of the money on the marketing, which probably isn't included in the production budget. But yeah, if they do it right, it could be very good. So.
Yeah, I don't know if it's for certain, but someone I was talking to the other day said Jeremy Renner is part of this.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, they got Hawkeye. Just the fact that he's played Hawkeye, it's going to be a pull. Notoriety, and he's done Wind River recently with Elizabeth Olsen, which was a really good, like artistic movie, if you will. I don't know. I think everything's in its favor, especially the low budget. It's just surprising given the effects. I wonder how much they spent. There's this fan film on YouTube of Spawn that was pretty good. I wonder how much they spent on that. I think if I understood how much they spent on that for the length of time, I think it could give me some idea. But I think they might cheat too with like shadows and stuff a lot, given Spawn's nature, nighttime.
Yeah, leave a lot to imagination.
Yeah. Have either of you kept up with the Christopher Priest Vampirella writer? Have y'all kept up with that at all, or followed that?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that, Wyatt?
Do you mean the interview?
Yeah, the Newsarama interview. They try to like corner him with "Come again, two genders, what?"
Yeah, I think I think you're looking for something to be outraged about when you turn a comic book interview into those kind of questions. It's like those were the questions you wanted to ask to start with. Why are you on a comic book website? And just trying to play gotcha with Christopher Priest, and luckily he's eloquent enough that oh man, he
put him in his place.
He really put that guy in his place. Yeah. So, like, well done, Mr. Priest. Yeah, for sure.
Have you seen this, John? This interview?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I'll pull it up and I'll read you the good parts. Essentially, it's this. He's a black creator, from what I understand. Watching one of the war campaign streams talking about him, he actually left for a while because he's a black writer and he was kind of tokenized. I think DC or Marvel is like, oh, we'll give you the black character, and he's like, well, no, I just want to be a writer. And so he kind of stepped away, and I guess he's gotten this deal with Vampirella. And so he's talking about, she's a woman, she's from outer space, she's a vampire, she's sexually clad. How do we write that? How do we write this character, not being a woman? Where's the line between exploitation and liberation, empowerment for women with sex symbols? And who decides that? Who gets to draw it? These are things that is in his mind taking this character. And then he goes on to talk about how, like they're like, oh, what would you do if you're in a taxi with Vampirella? He's like, I would get out, because he's like, yeah, I'm Christian, so I try not to. He's like, I'm not the best, but I try not to lead my life with temptations purposely around me and bad stuff. He said the same thing about Deathstroke, who he's writing for. And he's also, I guess, famous for writing the quintessential Black Panther story arc.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, dude's got some clout. Plus, his race can benefit him with the current state of things. And he's liberal to some degree, though. He's Christian, which never makes sense to me given my Christian background. But it depends how you're acculturated as well. So I understand. But yeah, he's like apparently somewhat liberal but rational. And at some point, it gets into he's talking about gender and how it's pretty much addressing the Me Too era of interacting with women, and how you can't compliment a woman without them coming at you or thinking you're a creep or something. And just all that problem, and talking about how do you write about sex appeal of women in this current state of things. And he said something along the lines of 2 genders, and the guy tried to be like, "Aha! You want to clarify that, my guy?"
Yeah, he was like, now we live in a world where people realize that even in comics, both genders are equally important, and that's he was trying to empower women in what he said, and that's this guy exactly what you. Aha! Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and Christopher Priest pretty much just shut his ass down. And this is weird. This is as weird as to me, being an atheist. I read, looking back at Exodus, I'm like, why did they leave in that they worshipped a golden calf? Because I get the narrative of they fell from God, but to me that reads of, oh, this is something they were doing beforehand, and so they're going back to what they know. And so it just if you dig into that, and same thing with this in that way of why would you leave that in there, or why would you even run with this thing where it's yeah, you're using this name, using an upcoming new iteration of Vampirella, its 50th anniversary and stuff. So I guess you can get clicks from that, but it's just they don't have the foresight to realize they're damning themselves with this article, and they ran with it. Maybe they don't care, maybe they just want the clicks, but it's very surprising. These editors are unaware, to say the least, along with the writer, especially talking to a Black veteran writer. The fact you want to come at him, it's I don't know. It's just funny. It just goes to show you, it's the whole Black people are important until you're an Uncle Tom in my eyes.
And what's really funny is the entire interview was through email, so Christopher Priest had time to. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a response.
Yeah, plus he's a writer,
and he's a writer. Yeah,
he's gonna be let me elegantly, eloquently, yet humbly reply to you.
How do you like this sunbeam?
Oh yeah, it's funny. I today I was so glad I remember talking about Christopher Priest, because I had this little bit to tie in. I talking about haha, I gotcha. It makes it fun when you make fun of this culture, because my son, is putting him in bed and he wants me to read this book, so I'm hanging out with him. It's chill before the stream, and that's actually why I was a little bit late getting back to you, Wyatt, because I was just hanging out with him a little longer, because he doesn't actually sleep when we put him to bed. And anyway, I'm trying to read him this book, and I'm laying on the floor with the stuffed animals, and then I'm kind of teasing him, oh, here's your cat boy, and he's like, no, Joe's cat boy. And I'm like, well, what the hell is happening? How are you doing? Making all that noise?
What is that?
You're going to change it from John Talks to John Thumps. All right, muted John. Never thought I'd have to mute John Talks, Anyway, I'm handing him Catboy. He's throwing it, and I hand him his blue bear, and he throws it. And then I see he's got a black baby doll. I'm like, yeah, you want your black baby? And he throws it. I'm like, racist. Of course, he's a quarter black,
Right.
But I incriminated the fucker. It's fun when you can laugh at this, like they've made everyone so hyper aware where now it's like anything you watch, you're kind of looking for like, where is this going to get problematic? They've imprinted it on us, even though we're fighting it. That's the weird thing. I think that shows there's some success.
The weird thing to me is I don't know that they're not creating. I don't know that they're not pushing people more to the other side than they are actually gaining people.
Yeah.
Because I don't
John
know,
talks
man.
realizes something's up with his mic, but yeah.
Because I was never really that much into politics, and then I realized, there's certain people that I don't want to be in charge of anything. and I don't know. I think trying to constantly turn people against each other is as they say, not a good look.
Hey, John, you still there? You're muted currently because something's wrong with your mic, I guess. But no, let me know if you're there because I really got a good topic that I'm working on right now that I'd love to get your take on.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Sorry. No, I joked about it, but it's like I never thought I'd have to mute John talks. Like, oh God, I hope he doesn't take offense.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Sorry, I had the game playing, and I thought I had the sound off, so it might have been it.
No, you're fine. I didn't hear the game. I just heard like thumping or something. Who's winning, by the way?
I believe the Raptors won. Pretty sure.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I hate the Warriors. Sorry, Kermit the Log, if you come back here or listen to this. Fuck Kevin Durant. I'm from Oklahoma, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually 30 minutes from the town Durant, and that's how we say it, Durant. And there's actually a petition when he left to Golden State to change the name to Westbrook. Fortunately, it didn't go through, but yeah, that's how much Westbrook secured the love from the state. Just everyone loves the team down there because we got a pro team finally. But no, me and him I don't know if you're listening, but we're laughing about Christopher Priest, and I did a gotcha on my son where I offered him a black baby doll. I was like, "You want your black baby?" And he like threw it along with all the other toys, and I'm like, "Racist!" And my wife's like, "Why'd you have to say like that, like black baby?" I'm like, "I'm incriminating." Oh, crap. Oh, this is the problem. I should have wrote this down. I had something. Oh, okay. John, were you covering, or have you ever covered Raylo?
I just covered the last time it was brought up in an.
Oh, okay. So you covered like the Steel
It was from Star Wars Celebration.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was the one.
How many Raylos did you get coming at you?
It must not have been that many. I don't think it was that bad.
So it wasn't noticeable.
I get all the Captain Marvel and Brie Larson people.
Okay, so this can be like a, how would I say it? This can be a little peek in. I mentioned it last night on my late night stream that I threw together, but it's gonna be a little sneak peek for some other people. What's Raylo? Peter Griffin, I don't know if you're trolling, but yeah, Raylo is the relationship, the ship of Rey and Kylo Ren that these SJWs are so hard up for. Anyway, I was wondering if you were aware of the panel or the channel that led the panel.
No.
Yeah, so if you ever want to look into it and learn about Raylo culture further, it's called Lords of the Sith. About 3.5 grand subs. It's all about Raylo. All the channels, all their videos are Raylo, and they even have like a bigger channel that is called Star Wars Connected, I think, and it's essentially a Raylo channel. So I don't know why there's a second one, but whatever. But yeah, this is kind of sneak peek to like the intro of my video. But this is this channel, this Raylo channel, is the people who presented this panel at Celebration, the shipping panel. And they had some third guy that's like associated with them to some degree. He's a male feminist, clearly from his dialogue. And yeah, look forward to a Raylo video in the vein of EVS shipping videos to some degree. I definitely got a very inflammatory intro for any Raylos that swing by, just to right off the bat, get them triggered and maybe just hate watch my shit. Um, looking forward to that, especially because I might have changed. I don't know if you see my new intro, John, but I got you think I think I perfectly balanced the toxic masculinity sexy intro with my standard intro. Different song. I think it's like perfectly balanced. It's perfect pitch. AC/DC, football, women, Game of Thrones, Star Wars. It's all in your face, 20 seconds. But yeah, I'm kind of at odds. Like, do I want to do my standard or this more toxic one? But yeah, I'm really having fun with it. I'm rewatching some EVS shipping videos just to write a better script for like summarizing Rails. But these people are weird, and it's funny where it's like it's not even. They don't even leave it where it's like, yeah, it could not be. It's like, no. It's like, oh, we don't care if it's not like obvious or if it's not the actual direction. Like we see these things even if like no one else does, and it's just like they're so weird. What's probably the funniest thing about these people that shows you that they're SJWs is they're so hard up for Storm Pilot, because like okay, so when y'all watch Force Awakens, didn't you feel there was at least a one-sided relationship interest of Finn for Rey?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it seemed pretty clear. He at least like one of the first things he says to her, it's like, "Oh, what's on Jakku? You got a boyfriend, cute boyfriend?" So it's like that's not normal Star Wars dialogue. So it's like, okay, this guy's clearly interested in her, and so there's that. But these Raylos are all about Storm Pilot, all right? And so this is why it's a problem for Star Wars. I used to not quite realize why it's a problem. Besides, they're just like focused on this and not the saga. But it's like this is going to become a saga. And this is the problem with the Raylo panel. It was hidden. Like, yeah, they had it in the schedule, but it was hidden by the Clone Wars panel on that Sunday. All right, so they even say it at some point in this panel where it's like, oh yeah, because like you hear this huge uproar and it's during, I guess, the trailer. And it's like, yeah, that's the Clone Wars panel. They took our viewers or something, because Robert Jeremy's going to go to this panel, and I realize the problem now. It's like, and it's funny because they didn't have any questions, at least for the recording. Maybe off air or whatever they had, you could talk to the panelists, but it was just a PowerPoint presentation. It was like a PSA about shipping isn't bad. And think of it this way, because about Brian Young, how he's been exposed as being in like possible underage teen chats of about Kylux, which is the General Hux and Kylo shipping. And this is the problem, all right, because this is going to look like a success because there was no detraction, there was no questions that were like, I don't agree with this, and I think you weirdos should leave or whatever. Successful. No one's had really an outcry. I looked on YouTube. No one's covered this besides them uploading the panel discussion. Even though there was videos from the Phantom Menace talking about it beforehand. But think of it this way: it's like if they had questions, it would be weirdos about Kylux or something. It's like, yeah, just want to get a panelist's opinion about who takes it up the butt, Kylo or General Hux. And it's like, it's not me being homophobic. I'm totally fine with gay sex. I'm bi,
Right.
It's just like, what does this matter for Star Wars? Like, yes, and this is what I say about any sex in Star Wars. The only sex you need, it doesn't have to be hetero characters, but if you want to continue the story for like a lineage, like the Skywalkers, you have to have some hetero interaction. So it needs to make sense. So you have to lay that groundwork. It's more purposeful, I would say, in that regard, with like the prequels to like show you the origin of Luke and Leia, versus Han and Leia was like a developing love story in a time of war. Fine, but that's not really the focus, even though you remember it a lot. It's a very a few people affecting the universe story. So sex isn't like the sell of it. It's, if anything, sex is kind of seen juvenilely, in my opinion, by Lucas and his art. And yeah, it's like Star Wars is supposed to be family oriented, but then you're inviting this culture that is really just all about like Tumblr porn art, which is again fine, but that's like trying to make this culture mainstream in Star Wars. It's like you're at odds, just like we talked about with L337, where it's like Pando Lando, but yeah, this is for kids, but let's teach them a very abstract sexual identity.
Right. It makes absolutely no sense. Unless you want to lose money, then it makes all the sense in the world. Because families, it's like once Lando Pando got out, a lot of parents were like, we're not going to see that.
Yeah,
not that it was like really, it was vaguely implied in the movie, but it was the writer, what is it, Jonathan Kasdan.
He was explicit
he's the one.
about it.
Yeah, dumbass. Like, why? Why would you do that? It's the stupidest thing ever. But anyways, I guess I don't know, Disney.
Yeah, the funny thing too is these shippers, they're not only can they not have Finn Ray because that'll go against their Kylo, their Reylo narrative that they're like forcefully wanting, even though it's like abusive, and it's like even besides that. But it's funny because it seems pretty clear if you watch one of EVS's videos about this from like about half a year ago. It seems that John Boyega is very apprehensive. He even when he's like a statement kind of suggests that he's okay with it now or something. It seems more like, I want to be on top of things so I can get prepared to play this gay character because just the verbiage he uses even with that statement, it sounds like I'm not down for the gay, so let me like just get my head right to get through this. It doesn't sound very willing, and so it's like they're like. There's this whole culture, this shipping shit, where it's like, I don't like how Boyega's so apprehensive because he grew up religiously, so he's a kind of a bigot. It's like, oh, he's uncomfortable playing a gay character. I think Kevin Hart refused playing a gay character or something recently. I know he had the gay thing with the Oscars and stuff to tweet, but I think he also refused to play a gay character. So it's like, I can see some Kevin Hart situation happening to John Boyega if they don't do Storm Pilot. And it's just I can't wait to see the. But it's funny you're talking about parents getting turned off. That's the thing. When I started out early, I did my solo video is like a long form essay, and it was I guess pretty good success for my channel size at the time. But looking back, it's like what a retard I was. Like not even 100 subs, and I'm doing a 30-minute essay. Didn't know the system. I'm proud of that video though. I might re-upload it just for the content. I think it's got a good argument. But even with my kind of being neutral about like, well, here's what pansexuality is. It's not bestiality or whatever. Even though that fits with like sci-fi, where technically it's bestiality or whatever, interspecial relations with like Star Trek or whatever, or androids or cyborgs. But some people, especially I'd say the Christian right, the hard right, they associate a lot of degeneracy with pansexuality, like pedophilia and bestiality and everything just weird. They're like, oh no, there's like no limitations with pansexuality. I'm like, I don't think people identify that way. So I was trying to be fair, but yeah, there's like clearly an undertone at least in the fandom that they hear this and they're going to think degeneracy. And you associate that with the kids product especially, or something you say is like the whole deflection, like, why are you getting mad? This is a series for 12-year-olds to sell toys, that whole stupid argument. That's the case, and like, what are you doing?
Yep.
Exactly.
I don't know. It
just seems, what you were saying earlier, just sex in general, it's just not Star Wars. And I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very just disheartening, especially being a parent. I'm like, and like, should I have had kids? Like, what have I set them up for? I've said this before multiple times. Like, I'm very scared, more so for my son, because even if something bad, in that department happens with my daughter, there's a system that caters to women to advocate and to defend and whatnot. And plus, there's just the natural nature of most men, good men, because we understand the disparity between the sexes, we generally want to protect them. So like there's just, nature and society that caters to women in this regard, as opposed to men. And also you have where it's like the toxic masculinity and this and that, and women making a lot of frivolous claims and being that's okay in society because of Me Too and stuff and third wave feminism. It's like, if my son gets in college and football or sports, I'm like, hey, just don't sleep with anyone because they might smear you if you jade them. It's like you can't let your son just be like, normal like American Pie debauchery type of experience in life, coming of age or anything. You got to like make them adults at like 10, otherwise they might get a sexual assault case because they kissed a girl in school.
Yeah, it's definitely a different. I don't know. You get why Henry Cavill said what he said. After the whole Me Too thing. I mean, especially if you're a celebrity, even more so. I think you have to be worried. But either way, I mean, it's yeah, it's
it even goes, back to what Christopher Priest said, where you got to be worried about, oh no, is she gonna if I hold this door open, is she gonna take it the wrong way and start screaming at me? And who wants to live like that?
So
yeah.
Catching up the chat, Peter Griffin says, I thought Finn liked Poe. So I'm like, no. Please don't be one of them. And then we got Ego Dreamer. I don't recall seeing you in the chat earlier, but he said good night. So take care, good night. We got Dorothy Akes, of course, keeping company with us. He's the only one really chatting. But we're having a good stream regardless.
I like EVS's Jaboba ship.
Jaboba ship? Wait, what is that? Boba Fett and Jabba?
Yeah. Jabba the Hutt and Boba Fett, yeah. That's the one he says he always wants to see.
Who would I like to... dude, I would love if Kylo got with Rose Tico.
Oh, that'd be the best. I would actually go see that movie. That sounds more interesting. That seems way more interesting than anything we've seen in Star Wars lately.
Yeah,
what do you call it? Rosie Wren?
Yeah, because then he'd have to fight Finn for her again.
Oh yeah, you know what? They could totally extrapolate some like grand, like America was never great. Look at all the Asians we've harmed in America, or being American, and a toxic white male taking her from the black man. Like they just got everything lined up in their favor with the SJWs, and they don't even see it. It's like, okay, this is why I want you to see Brightburn, John. Grace Randolph, like I was telling you, she refused to review Brightburn. All right, and it's pretty obvious if you've seen the trailer. It's a Superman origin, but the twist is like, what if he was born evil or turned evil? That's a simple premise. And there's characters hurt or killed. There's like a 4-to-3 ratio of women to men, if I recall right. At least characters you know of to some degree that he's affected. And so because of that, I really think that I try to give her the benefit of the doubt in my review. I said, perhaps she's, so feminist where, she cries about Gamora getting killed as like some feminist problem with Infinity War. Perhaps she's biased and that's why she's refusing to review it, because she won't take that out of her score. I gave that benefit, but I looked through some of the tweets and responses, and people are like, why aren't you reviewing it? And she's like, it's a matter of safety, really. It's like, what? Like, so it seems from reading through the lines of her tweets, it seems that she has that same response as like, violent video games make school shooters. And so it seems perhaps her feminist vision makes her think violence against women in fiction means violence against women in real life. Even though it's a story about a villain, And they don't see the layup they have of, like they should embrace this movie. People should, all these feminists and stuff, male feminists, they should be loving this because it's an evil white male hurting women, like They don't see the gold mine there for their own narrative. It's just. What are your thoughts on it? Just not seeing it, but just knowing this context, and there's. I can see the initial tweet and go through all of her replies and see the obvious context.
I think I'm never going to count the ratio of number of people that die in anything I ever write. So if anybody wants me to keep up with that, I'm not going to.
She never mentions it, but given like that context, I count on my hand. Like, wait, what was the ratio? I thought it was pretty even. It was like I think a 4-3 ratio. One woman more than the men or boys, but yeah, and it wasn't like all desperate, but still, it was like. Do you not get the concept? Is like this is a guy who's like, oh, let's make this iconic character trope, but he's evil. Like, do you not get like what you're getting into? It's very very unaware, and I don't know. Let me I'll pull this up so I can send it to John so he can look through if he wants to cover this. I think this would be some good clickbait. You could definitely use. One moment.
It sounds cool though. I haven't seen it either. So
yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'll have to check that
out. Black Angus, Wyatt, I think I'm gonna get rolling. But
no, it's fine.
Yeah, had a great.
I went way longer than I thought I would with Wyatt. Wait, can you hear me? Okay, yeah. Sometimes with this mic, I don't know if it's my computer or the port, but sometimes the mic won't pick up. Yeah, I'm gonna send you.
I think it's my internet connection. Like, when I go through my phone, I think it's almost better. So that's why. Sorry about that.
Yeah. But I'll send you this. Yeah, you haven't seen the movie, but it's a pretty simple plot. You can look up the spoilers if you want. Watch my review if you want for the key spoilers. If you're not going to go see it.
Okay.
But yeah, I think this would be a fun goldmine for you to use her tweet against her, or just like, hey, let's use this big thing and like, look at her. She didn't review this because of feminism. It's affecting everyone. You can just trigger everyone.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out and see what it's about.
Yeah. Really quick before you go, have you or are you going to go see Godzilla? And after that, what movies are you looking forward to seeing besides that? If yay or nay?
I think eventually I might catch Godzilla in the theater. I'll probably just go to a matinee. Because nobody's really seeing it anyways. And then we got X-Men coming out tomorrow, and I might see that. Tomorrow.
Yeah, I might have to wait and see that Tuesday if I do, just for like the cheap tickets, given my situation right now. It might take me a while, but I love X-Men series, but of course minus Origins. That's just a crap fest. But I take something away from all of it. I rate them, I think, higher than a lot of people will. Apocalypse and Last Stand I really liked, despite everyone's negative opinion on them. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It looks like a good setup. Looks like the best send-off you can get, given the Disney buyout. So I've heard really good things, at least for Sophie's performance. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it got bombed. Did you see Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, like only one person I saw when the first number came out. Only one person gave it a tomato, and that was a top critic who gave it a tomato. So I saw like Grace Randolph had a review as a splat. That's the only notable name I saw in there, but yeah, I don't know. I think there's just I really think there's a push, not to buy into the DC fanboy, crying about Rotten Tomatoes versus like Marvel, but I started noticing this before the Phantom Menace with Apocalypse versus Civil War, because they came out like a couple weeks apart, and like Civil War was like a 90 or so, and Apocalypse was like crapped on. But I think plot wise, Apocalypse way better, and it's presented pretty even, in my opinion.
Yeah, I generally like the X-Men movies.
Yeah, I don't know. Disney films favorably. They definitely get the better reviews, because I think they buy them out. So I think they're bought and paid for. But
But yeah, thanks for stopping by, John. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you stayed way more than 30 minutes, and you've interacted with the young guy or young YouTube at least experience and initial comicsgater production coming out. So really appreciate it that you've come across him, and this might do great for him right off the bat to build his channel.
Yeah, John, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, you bet. Why? Do you have any? I take it you have a channel on YouTube, or
technically yes, but I don't have any videos yet. I haven't. This is actually my second live stream appearance, so yeah, no videos yet. We're gonna be doing a trailer soon for the book, but I don't know what I'm gonna do after that. But I'm definitely gonna do something. Get more involved and.
Oh. Cool. Well, if there's anything I can do to help you out, let me know. And I would say reach out to EVS too, because he's always seems like he's always got comicsgate creators on his live stream. So, which obviously you already know. So
that's the one thing I forgot to ask you, John. Is I don't recall ever seeing you cross paths on a stream with EVS, and if not, do you ever plan to try to coordinate an EVS stream?
If I actually got a book together, like Wyatt has, then I'd, because I think I would want to do it the same way you're doing it, is just have the book complete, finished, ready to go. That way you don't have to worry about, just, I think it's better that way to have a complete product. But if I did, then I would reach out to him, and I've super chatted him. And so he's kind of aware of my channel. Like, he knows a little bit, like he's seen me around a little bit. So, but yeah, he seems really generous and, always willing to help, fellow comic, creators. So yeah. But yeah, anything I could do to help, just, feel free to, just feel free to DM me on Twitter, and I'll what's your Twitter handle?
I'm _ Wyatt Holliday, 2 L's.
See, while you're doing that, Peter Griffin, I've heard cringe about the Sabrina reboot, but I've never grew up watching the original, of course, because she's a witch and that's the devil, and I like the young actress from Mad Men, even though she's not a prominent character really. But I hope good for her. But yeah, I've heard bad stuff about the sequel, and the Satanic Temple even is suing, or at least was suing, them for use of the current Baphomet symbol, which is like their state grounds submission when they get it approved for different displays across the country. Oh, John left. But yeah, I hope he started following you, or he's in contact with you, Mike. Or sorry, Wyatt. I almost said Mike. But yeah, anything you want to say before we go? Any suggestions, maybe, of like, hey, check out this film or this book that a lot of people don't know, or what have you, before we head out? Besides, of course, your project.
Yeah, of course, yes. Definitely go check out. Yeah, there's this book called Ardanna. But no. Yeah, unfortunately, my film and TV watching, not a lot of free time lately. Work's been super busy. I did just finish up the newest season of Vikings. That was cool.
Yeah, I'm out of the loop. I've only seen, I think, up to season 4.5, because they split that season into.
Right. Yeah. They haven't subverted my expectations yet.
I have heard something about like they're starting to go soy with like Lagertha.
Yeah, maybe a little. Yeah, I could see that.
But yeah, I'm out of the loop. I know. Well, I won't say because I don't want to spoil anyone else that might get into that show. But yeah, really quick, Peter, what were your thoughts of the show? Dorothy Yates, you only watched the first 3 episodes. I don't know. it's like for me, it's curiosity gets the best of me. Like House of Cards, season 6. The whole setup. I don't know if you watch House of Cards, Wyatt, but
Yeah, yeah.
oh my god, the first 5 seasons are amazing. The setup, the cliffhanger, and then of course Me Too crap happens with Kevin Spacey. With then he's like deflecting it by saying, "Yeah, I'm going to come out as a gay man." It's like this doesn't. This isn't really an answer about
Right.
kids. This is only kind of. This is only going to hurt gay people with the stigma of uh, gays or pedos. That stigma like hard right people have. But yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
season 6 goes like super soy with which was weird because like yeah, okay, you just kill them off and then have her take over, but the whole setup of the series was like very egalitarian between that couple. So for her to just start being like vindictive about his memory was like what his whole plan was to like get power and then boost you up because
Yeah.
the world wasn't ready for a woman yet, so he's going to set you up for success. Um, yeah, I don't know.
And then she's mad at him because man. And I know it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so just because I love her character and like the odd sexualities like that, the open relationship that isn't just like a woman just giving in to keep her man happy type scenarios,
Right.
or a cuck, with the man, but like actual like an open relationship that like they're trusting each other and right from the start, it's like oh she knows about another girl and she's like how does she help us? And it's like oh that's weird, never seen that. You
Right.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. I loved their dynamic.
especially because she's Jenny, and she's the princess bride, and then you see her in this movie. It's like, fuck, this is such a different, portrayal from her, and she's got the elegance. Robin Wright, I think, is the sexiest in this show, and then they just undercut it with her being like Hillary, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just like, I love your character, and now, but no, yeah, I saw just imagery, the new Handmaid's Tale, and I think there's a picture or like image of like Washington, like the monument or something, like burn everything down or something. It's like seems kind of like some terrorist propaganda. Like,
Yeah. 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 I'm not very knowledgeable on Handmaid's Tale, but
yeah,
I'm aware.
yeah. And that's the thing too. It's funny. The lead actress, she's like the feminist stand-in for Mad Men, where
Mm-hmm.
it's like you see her transition from a trying to just fit the norm and then realizing like, oh, I'm not pretty enough, so I got to put out, and then she puts out, and it's like she uses that to her advantage. She becomes empowered, a lot like Dawn. And it's his like pet project because he's all about just finding the best from people despite how they fit in society.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just hated the whole feminist angle with her, which it felt like a natural progression for her. I just didn't like her character, especially when she gets control over Dawn for a while. But yeah, her in the show is like, oh man, like she's already got this background as this character. Now it's like Trump derangement era of film, and then people are like wearing Handmaid's Tale crap to like DC for abortion protests and stuff. It's like,
But,
it really turned me off.
right. It's weird, man, that like there are people acting like a reality exists that no one else sees. I don't know why you need to dress like that because you think things are that way,
Yeah.
and it's not really comparable to to what's happening.
Yeah. Any shows you want to push? Movies? It doesn't have to be current stuff. It can be just something old that maybe people have forgotten.
Oh man, if you've never seen The Prestige, one of the best movies ever.
Ooh, yeah, I love Chris Nolan.
Man, yeah, probably my favorite director. Or at least top 5. Gosh, I can never plug that one enough. Like any of my friends who haven't seen it, I'm like, you need to. Whatever you're watching next, you need to make it that if you haven't.
So you're pushing for a digital dicking, is that it?
I'm sure I'm going to be due one soon. So yeah, I haven't received mine yet. And I'm not even an international customer. So yeah, that's so good. Yeah,
I just can't believe you coined that.
yeah. I've been going back and watching a lot of just older stuff lately. There's some things maybe I haven't seen or wanted to see again, and I'm stuck in the oldies at the moment. So
Yeah, I'm always trying to backtrack. Like, I like Attack on Titan, the first season at least, and I haven't watched it so long though, and I've had the season 2 still in the wrapper for like a year. So I'm like, you know what? I need to sit down and watch this show, and that way I can get to season 2 and see how it progresses. Because they took a while to because I guess they were actually waiting for the manga to keep going so they could make the next season. So that was the delay. It was the actual product. So I guess it's very much hand in hand. So whatever the consistency is, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, it's just funny the things you pick up on when you know the general plot points now.
right.
It's man, I wish I would have thought of this earlier because I had it written down, but we had the digital dicking and everything else, just funny shit that distracted us. But next, I got to get you on because I really enjoyed having you on. Got to get you on again. We'll just talk Game of Thrones and shit. Hopefully, or maybe you can get on John Talks for the hour and push your channel and your product, and
All right.
subvert, the expectation of me getting you back on. But no, I guess before we leave, just really quick, get your impressions of. Have you watched season 8 of Game of Thrones?
I have not, but I know enough to wonder if I'm going to.
Okay, so are you watching?
Yeah. Season 8's the one I haven't seen. My original plan was to just catch up on it, and then
Okay.
because I kind of did that last season too. I was just super busy at the time, so I didn't really have time to sit down and watch anything. And so I finally had 3 or 4 episodes on the DVR, and I started catching up. But
Yeah, I think what I did was I waited because it was a 7-episode season and weekly. So I waited till season or episode 4, I think, to get the free HBO for the month. So I watched the first 3 episodes, and then with 4, I started watching it throughout the release time. And I remember the last episode, I was like, my wife's like 4 seasons behind me at the time, and you think Jamie's gonna get killed by the mountain, and I remember I just screamed. I was like, "No, Jamie!"
right,
I was just like, "Oh man, that's how invested." She's like, "Don't tell me what happened." I'm like, "Sorry, I just reacted." That's not me. So that's how good the show was. And honestly, since you haven't seen it, I'll tell you this: season 8 is not bad story wise per se. I could definitely see it being disappointing, and I think people spun Kit Harington saying disappointing and Emilia Clarke's response.
mm-hmm.
I think they spun it on our side. I think they spun it to mean to fit the narrative of oh, Game of Thrones sucks now. I don't think that was necessarily the feeling of them saying that, but it's disappointing. Kit Harington's yeah, I saw my character do this, and of course he doesn't. But yeah, story-wise, because George R. R. Martin talks about how fiction should say a truth, and I'm still piecing it together, trying to figure out what the truth story he's saying with this ending. But yeah, I think you might be disappointed even if you like it. And be disappointed with ending results, but I think it fits the narrative, especially with how Martin likes to trick people and set them up for failure with their expectations.
Right. Yeah. I don't think there's any spoiler you could give me at this point that I haven't already heard. So, because it was about, I don't know, the episode was over for 5 minutes before the the throne with the wheels meme started coming through. So...
Sorry, I oh god, I low on dip, so I use alternative, which is coffee. That's totally fine, but sitting here talking for like 3 hours, I forgot I had it in. And I tried to spit it up, but then like it's all across my tongue, so I like inhaled some coffee grounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't say I've done that.
But no, season 8, it's really, it compares to Last Jedi, I think, very well as far as overall feeling of like, I've loved this thing so long, and then it ends up like this. But it's different because Last Jedi was just horribly written and unaware of the saga. This one is like, at least the major points are from the outline of Martin, even if he's been distanced by D&D for the closeout.
Right.
I think it's the major points, but it's the delivery. It's like, yeah, we have no problem with like this point or that point. It's, you did it too fast, you rushed it, you botched it. It was just poorly addressed, or a few things narratively you could say like, wait, like you had this guy so smart and then he does this, or they're not aware of this. There's definitely a couple things that episode 3 was kind of, I was like, what the fuck? But it was episode 4 that really got me. I'm like, oh my god, they like purposely shot this to trick you when it doesn't make sense for the setup, you know. I'm just like, oh, that's when I really started seeing it. So those last 3 episodes, I think, are really where you're going to see at least the complaints, even if you like them. I think you'll see it where it's like, they botched it here.
Yeah, and that's a shame too, man, because you know, I thought it was, you know, darn near perfect the first 7, and loved it, man. I'd always known about the books, because I think the first one came out in like 95 or something like that, and so I'd always known they existed, but I'd never read them.
Yeah, I didn't know about them until like the show. So like it was like season 2 or 3 when I started reading the books in Afghanistan. And I was stupid. I bought, because I had care package people where I was like, I'd write them back. So I would, I coordinated, because Amazon like used when shipped the books to Afghanistan. So I would have to coordinate with care package people like, hey, I'm sending you a book, so wait to send like whatever care package you're sending me with this book. So I ordered 1 through, or like I think 3 and 4 to complete the like what I need, because I had book 1. And I thought it would take me too long to even borrow the 5. And then I like binged 4, and I'm like, fuck, I don't have 5, but it's too late to order it, you know, because I'm about to leave to America. And I'm like, ugh. So I've never read book 5, and I know it's actually like half of book 4, because book 4 is really one book cut in 2 because of how big the narrative gets. So,
right, okay.
Yeah. And I want to, you know, it's funny speaking to Mike Miller, because it's interesting. I don't know if it's like tangential stories, but I know he's worked on Game of Thrones comics or graphic novels. So I want to see that. Wondering if it's just, or if he contributed something to the story or whatnot. I want to see what he's written outside of Lone Star, because yeah, I'm not.
I'm almost positive he did the covers. I don't know. He may have done the interior art too. I can't really speak on that, but I'm almost certain he at least did the covers. So I don't know. I don't know if he wrote it or what his other involvement might have been. I know he did the covers for that series Injustice.
Yeah, that's where I saw the claim to fame.
But yeah, I'm not overly familiar with his work.
Yeah.
I did back Lone Star too, though, and I had to get the perk that also included Volume 1 because I missed out on it.
Oh, you don't have the new one? Okay, so
yeah.
So you haven't read it yet, but you're going to.
Yes.
Okay, you'll have to tell me. We can discuss off air or whatever when you get it. But I'll definitely tell you, like, okay, this is like my narrative complaints where I'm like, I don't see how you wouldn't fix this or write something better in like 5 minutes of brainstorming. And yeah, I'm very interested to see the transition from this one to the second issue, to see how much he ratcheted up the writing. Because then, if it's written well, I can put aside his his stances and his rhetoric with customers and stuff, and check it out.
Yeah.
But again, if you could DM me your channel, that way people can start subbing you
Okay. Yeah.
beforehand, and I'll put it in the stream as well, or in the description, and then we can head out of here.
All right. Great. I may have to get that for you from my computer.
No, that's fine. If it takes you, later, I can just update it.
Okay.
Whoever
Yeah,
comes back
cool.
or who searches you, once you start getting more notoriety with the campaign, they might come across this. And cause I got your name at the top and Ardanna, so definitely when you start making content, hashtag Ardanna and hashtag Wyatt Holliday, just so people can like trend you.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I'll send that over to you, and I need to follow John. I need to find out what his Twitter handle is.
Yeah, I'm about to wait. Me. So I got so many DMs set up in here, so I'm like, wait, which one's which? See, it's here it is, _ Wyatt Holiday. So boom, he can just click on that and follow you, and vice versa. Oh yeah, let me send it to you because you're not in that chat that I. But yeah, Dorothy X, really appreciate you staying in the chat with us. Are you just at home, or are you at work listening, or what's going on? See if he replies in time. Crap. Wyatt, there we go. John. There you go. Here is, I sent you the channel link to Vinny Tartamella, so you kind of like have some sort of example to start building your channel. How to pitch stuff and how maybe to pitch better. Night Mandy Summers. Appreciate you hanging out. And Darth H, you're at work. Awesome. I sent you the link to John Talk so you can follow him and vice versa.
Awesome. Yeah, I just did that. Thanks for having me, man. I think the more I get used to this, the better. It just takes some getting used to, I think.
No, it's really, really, regardless of however good you get, clearly I know my limitations, so I always have the pen and paper ready. Even if it's not my stream I'm leading, just because you never know when you're like, I got a point and I cannot forget this if I want, to win people over to like my argument or just to value me as a commentator. Definitely keep that in mind going forward if you haven't or you're not aware. Just never rely on your own brain, no matter how quick and smart you are. I really appreciate you. Didn't know, I kind of went in blind, especially not having or not knowing about where you streamed before, so I didn't have an example to go off of. Understanding your character and your persona on a stream, but no, this is great. You did well. Red Gaze coming here and kind of distracted me, and I felt bad when I got on that whole Mike Miller tangent because it's like, we're here for Wyatt, but that's how it goes. Sometimes you just, especially when you're leading a stream, just keeping it active, I guess. But yeah, definitely want to see you not only put up content, but intermingle with more comic skaters on your channel and build that way.
Right. Yeah, and I'm here for all kinds of conversations. So whatever we get off on, yeah. That didn't sound good, but
they hate us because they ain't us.
They hate us because they ain't black anus. Reviewing dicks.
Yeah, I love that channel. Actually, I need to go back and sub that. That's hilarious. I'll go back and find it in the chat once this is like completely we call it rendered or whatever from YouTube. This is always my problem, but it's been fun talking with you. It's always my problem leaving a stream because it's like awkward. Like, how do I close out? I want to address everything, but go check out Wyatt, his Indiegogo. It's at the top of the description. And if you're interested to support essentially Filmgate, there's a campaign underneath the support the channel links. So you can read that. There's the explanation. I'm just going to close out. Appreciate y'all coming, and be sure to back Ardanna starting June 24th in the campaign, and leashes. And have a great night.